Good afternoon, folks. JB here with you live on WFLA now, following a developing story out of Hernando County. On the left side of your screen, Eagle 8 HD is live over Hernando County. On the right side of your screen, a picture of a missing 2-year-old going by the name of JJ. That's how we have received the alert here at WFLA.com. JJ left his home while his parent was asleep, according to the Hernando County Sheriff's Office. And as of 2:15 this afternoon, the child had been missing for just under 4 hours, according to the Hernando County Sheriff's Office. JJ last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt and gray pants. He has blonde hair. Deputies responding to the home near Cheever Road and Yance Road for the report of a missing child. The home in North Brooksville. The quote here from the sheriff's office: "We have law enforcement on foot and in vehicles, drones, aviation, canines from HCSO, Pasco Canine, Citrus Canine, the HCSO mounted unit, and deputies on side-by-sides. Every available resource is out searching at this time. No search parties are needed." People who live in this area, they are asked to check their properties, including underneath vehicles, in and around structures, and anywhere that JJ could possibly be hiding if he is scared. If you see the toddler, deputies say to call 911 immediately. Eagle 8 HD, moving to a different scene. Stand by for updates. Again, JB here with you live, folks, on WFLA Now. This is the picture of missing 2-year-old JJ. All available resources in Hernando County right now are being used to find JJ. Again, a missing 2-year-old out of North Brooksville. The way that we understand this, what transpired about roughly 6 or so hours ago, JJ left his home on Cheever Road and Yance Road while one of his parents, or while it's been described as his parent was asleep, and that was when JJ disappeared, leaving the home on Cheever Road and Yance Road. So folks in the area, they're not asking for search parties, but what they are asking for to check your property for any place that a 2-year-old might be able to hide. Those places include underneath vehicles, in and around structures, anything that is of a size where JJ could possibly be hiding if he is afraid in the aftermath of, again, leaving the home in North Brooksville. For folks joining us on Facebook Live especially, we've activated Share to Help here on the bottom of your screen. We ask that you do your very best. We're trying to get as many shares as possible here to spread word of this story. We know that a lot of folks right now in Hernando County very well aware of this story and doing their part, trying to spread the word as well. But we're also asking, of course, that we get the word out here on social media for those in Hernando County that are unfamiliar with this story, or perhaps getting home from work soon and learning of this story for the first time. So all available resources with area law enforcement are currently being used. We also are going to have a report here in a little while from WFLA's Brittany Muller, who is there in Hernando County, our team there on the ground in North Brooksville, where the search is currently going on. So we are going to ask folks that you continuously share this out. I'll be back with Eagle 8 HD video here momentarily. Again, this is JJ missing out of Hernando County. The very latest on WFLA.com. I'll be back with updates. Again, JB here with you live, folks, on WFLA now. We are, of course, following a developing story at this hour. Deputies searching for the missing toddler here on the right side of your screen. If you're joining us on social media, shares are asked for as far as the Hernando County area in Florida. Missing 2-year-old JJ disappeared after, according to the sheriff's office, leaving the home on Cheever Road and Yance Road while his parent was asleep. So as of 2:15 p.m., the child had been missing for just under 4 hours or so. That puts us roughly around 10 a.m. when the child was last seen. So somewhere in that time frame. JJ last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt and also gray pants as well. This is the lone picture that we have at this time. If we get in any additional photos, we'll pass them along to you. But JJ is could be anywhere in the area of North Brooksville, depending on, of course, how far he might have wandered on foot. Cheever Road, Yance Road, folks in that area are asked to check their properties, under their vehicles, around structures, anywhere that JJ could possibly be hiding. We're going to load in some video here from Eagle 8 HD, and hopefully we'll be able to get this up on your screen here relatively soon, folks. Coming up here in just about a minute. I'll try to answer some questions out of Facebook Live. I'll also be looking for questions on YouTube Live as well. If there's any questions, you can use hashtag AJB to get my attention. It'll appear brighter on my screen. I see a lot of prayers coming in here on Facebook Live, and you see that we've activated Share to Help. We're trying to get the shares out as much as possible on social media. If anyone sees the toddler, you're asked to call 911 immediately. JJ, again, missing 2-year-old boy, last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt, gray pants. He has blonde hair. Leaving the home sometime this morning, we believe around 10 a.m. or so. And doing so while his parent was asleep. The home on Cheever Road, Yance Road in North Brooksville. Every available resource on the ground right now being used. Ground, air, they're looking everywhere they possibly can for the missing 2-year-old boy. Let's get to some of the video from Eagle 8 HD. This has been sent to me as Eagle 8 HD video. Eagle had to vacate the area. Let's see if we can bring this up on screen. Yeah, so this is a large collection of vehicles in North Brooksville that they are currently searching. So this video is approximately 15 to 20 minutes old because, again, Eagle had to vacate the area. So we're not going to see anything live here. The real big thing is to show you the picture of JJ. Here we now have Eagle video from earlier side by side with a picture of the missing 2-year-old. I'll be jumping off the microphone here for a second, jumping off stream for just a moment as we gather details, folks. The very latest on WFLA.com. You can click on the link in the description of this video for the very latest as we get updates on this developing story.
hour. You're looking at video shot from Eagle 8 HD. This is just a few minutes ago. We're told at least 50 units from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office is responding. That includes canine teams from other counties.
And we want to get straight to News Channel 8's Brittany Muller. She joins us live from the scene. What do we know at this hour?
Stacey, I can tell you it's all hands on deck out here searching for that 2-year-old boy. We do know from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office that more than 50 units are out here assisting in that search. Now, JJ went missing from this area of the road behind me. It is currently closed off, but we can see it's currently a massive active search behind us. We saw several canines out here, but I do want to show you his photo. The Hernando County Sheriff's Office shared this photo of Joshua Rowland. He goes by JJ. He's 2.5 years old. JJ was last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt and dark gray pants. He has curly blonde hair. Deputies say the toddler left his home near Cheever and Yonce Road while his parent was asleep. That was around 9:45 this morning. The sheriff's office has deputies on foot, on ATVs, and on horseback. The aviation unit and drones are also out here searching for the young boy. Deputies also say canines from Hernando, Citrus, and Sumter counties are also assisting in this search.
Please go outside and do a thorough search of their property. Look under the bushes. If there's any abandoned vehicles and they're unlocked, look in there, look under there. If there's sheds, if there's grills, little people can hide in small places.
The sheriff's office says they will be searching until they find JJ. At this point, they're not asking for any volunteers to assist in the search, but of course that could change at any point. If you find JJ, call 911 immediately. Stacey?
All right, Brittany, I'm wondering, tell us about some of the challenges deputies face. It looks like it's a fairly remote area. There's a lot of underbrush and things like that. What are they facing out there, Brittany?
Right, it's a very rural area out here in North Brooksville. It is a heavily wooded area. I want to just show you what they're dealing with out here. Homes are spread far apart, and there are pools and retention ponds in this area. So again, the sheriff's office is asking residents to help by thoroughly searching their properties to help find JJ at this point. And also coming up at 5, we will be speaking with Hernando County Sheriff Neenhai. So you'll be expecting that coming up in just about an hour.
All right, we're hoping for some good news out there. Thanks so much for that update. We appreciate it. Brittany Muller live for us tonight. We now turn to Orlando, where the community there is grieving.
Hey there, folks. JB here with you live on WFLA Now. You're looking here at a picture of missing 2-year-old JJ, who was last seen around 9:45 this morning in North Brooksville. The very latest details coming your way on WFLA.com. We are staying in constant contact with the Hernando County Sheriff's Office for any kind of update. But right now, every resource is being put into what is going on the ground in Hernando County. This just giving us some sense of an idea, really, just how many resources are being used to track down where JJ might have gone. This happening around 9:45 this morning when JJ left his home on Cheever Road and Yance Road while his parent was asleep. JJ, last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt and gray pants. He has blonde hair, curly blonde hair, as we have seen in this photograph. The quote from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office: "We have law enforcement on foot and in vehicles. We have drones, aviation, canines from HCSO, Pasco Canine, Citrus Canine, HCSO mounted unit, deputies on side-by-sides. Every available resource is out searching at this time. No search parties are needed, but people who live in the area are asked to check their properties, including underneath their vehicles, in and around structures, and anywhere that JJ could possibly be hiding. If you see the toddler, deputies say to call 911 immediately." Checking in with folks on YouTube Live and on Facebook Live. If you'd like to have your comment featured on screen, or if you maybe live in the area and you have something to share, or if you have a question about this developing story, you can use hashtag HeyJB underneath my, you see it here underneath my name on the left side of your screen on the yellow stripe. If you use hashtag HeyJB with your comment, we can animate your comments on screen and try to get you good, reliable information as this story continues to develop, and hopefully with the ending that we all want, JJ being found safe and sound. So I'll paying attention here to Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. Jen C, this is exactly what I was thinking, Jen. Writing hashtag HeyJB, has the dog found any scent? If they have multiple canine units, what they're obviously going to do is try to get those dogs familiar with the scent. We have not heard word yet as to whether or not the canines have picked up on even a faint scent that might point them in the right direction as to where JJ might have gone. Again, JJ leaving the home there in North Brooksville after his parent fell asleep. So this is a question. I might text Brittany Muller to see if we have any contact with law enforcement to find out if there is any hope as far as the canines, if they've picked up any scent on the trail. Doc Wolf, hashtag HeyJB, why not use the media copter to search? You have a strong camera. We were a full participant in the search with Eagle 8 HD. That's why we were up over the scene earlier. And then at 4 o'clock, there was an advisory put out for media helicopters to vacate the area. And I believe that we got I'm going to see if we can find out exactly why. But this is this is Eagle video from 3:45 p.m. So approximately 35 to 45 minutes ago. So the media helicopter, our media helicopter, Eagle 8 HD, was a participant, and then they issued an advisory for media helicopters to get out of the area. But you can see here, right there, that is a Hernando County Sheriff's Office helicopter. I would be very surprised if I'm trying to figure out exactly why the advisory was issued. If we ever got any clarity on why our media helicopter was asked to vacate the area, that can be for several different reasons. The search is still very active, so it's not because there were results for the search. It's not because they found anything that they didn't want the media to see. Sometimes it can be to clear out the airspace for law enforcement aircraft, but at the same time, you would imagine that the Hernando County Sheriff's Office wants as many eyes in the sky, if you will. And sometimes we get advisories to increase altitude so that the aircraft that are lowest and closest to the ground have more ability to navigate that airspace without fear of course, impeding, the way for the media helicopters or making way for the media helicopters. So I'm trying to find out exactly why, and we'll get an update here in just a moment. But yes, Eagle 8 HD was there. Mercy Reigns, hashtag AJB, will this search continue through the night if necessary? WFLA's Brittany Muller reporting this search continues until JJ is found. But the daylight is precious. And I'm going to ask our meteorologist here. I don't know if we have an estimated time, what time sundown would be tonight in Hernando. Going to be it's going to be in a couple of hours from now, folks. So the race is quite literally against the clock as they look for this missing toddler, because of course it's going to be 6:26 p.m. according to our Max Defender 8 chief meteorologist Jeff Berardelli. Doug is joining us. Doug from Northport. Hashtag AJB, this sounds fishy to me, doesn't look tall enough to open the door. And if he did, he couldn't have gone that far away at 2 years old. We don't know if he exited a door. There's doggy doors. There's windows. There's the chance that if it's an adventurous 2-year-old that, and again, it's 2.5. So if we're getting really technical here, there are ways that a 2.5-year-old, if motivated to do so and adventurous enough to do so, there is a way for a 2.5-year-old to get out of the house. We don't know exactly how the 2.5-year-old got out, and in fact, I'll read it here from what we've got, the details here. It's just that he left the home. Those are the words, left the home. Here's a look at some of the canine units. And again, I'll put down Doug's comment here for a moment. And I have no way of knowing. I'm by no means an expert. If there's any way for us to determine as to whether or not the dog has a scent, that was an earlier question. The Truth wants to know what time law enforcement was notified. I believe I have that detail, but I want to confirm it with our team first. Here we have some of the law enforcement personnel. I'll try to get an exact time for our audience as to when law enforcement was officially notified. And there might be a lapse in time. If JJ was last seen at 9:45, there might have been a period there of an extended period of time where, again, this happened while the parent was asleep. So when did the parent wake up? And then how long did the parent search before getting scared enough to and worried enough to contact law enforcement? Again, we've activated share to help on the bottom of your screen. Any shares that you can any shares that we can post on any social media platform, just getting the word out in and around Hernando County, although Hernando County, of course, I'm sure by now, especially the homes on this block and the homes in the surrounding area, very much on alert, given the enormous law enforcement presence there in North Brooksville. Joanne is asking on Facebook about some of the particulars about the family. We have no family details, Joanne, and I see your specific question, and I'm acknowledging it here. But as far as those type of specifics and the inner workings of the family, we do not know at this time. Right now, it is just a frantic and urgent search for a missing 2-year-old by the name of JJ. Again, curly blonde hair. We'll show the picture here again on your screen. Yeah, more people are asking, okay, how did he reach up and open the door? There's other ways for a child to leave a home other than opening the door. Could be an open window. If Jeff, what would the weather have been like in Brooksville this morning? I mean, warm. Child disappeared around 9:45, 10 a.m. Yeah, so a window theoretically could have been open, and a kid could have left the window through the window. Did we ever get a word on why Eagle was asked to vacate the area? And is that something that I can report? All right, so got it. Okay, so Eagle 8 HD was live over the scene at the beginning of this live stream. And the reason we were able to talk with the Hernando County Sheriff's Office as to exactly why they didn't want our helicopter in the air. And we were told, the only thing that we were told, it was a sound issue. It had to do with how loud it was. So now, look, there's already choppers in the air. So there's already going to be the sound of a helicopter. But what might be the reason is because if you have multiple helicopters circling an area, that of course is going to create a lot of additional sound. And if you're trying to listen for a 2-year-old, especially in the event that the toddler is stuck or has fallen somewhere or is in a position where the toddler might be crying for help, being able to hear is extremely important. So that is why we have been told here, WFLA, that our helicopter was to leave the area. Again, people were asking, WFLA, we are the only station in Tampa that we have our own media helicopter that we can fly whenever we choose to. We activated Eagle earlier on today as soon as we got this news, and we were participating in the search. We can help out in instances like this when it comes to a search like this. People who have been, for example, remember the Gabby Petito story, and there was the frantic search for Brian Laundrie. Eagle 8 HD was very much a participant as far as scanning the Carlton Reserve down in Sarasota County, helping, and also too helping us document what was going on the ground. So we use our helicopters for searches, and we often see this type of activity where a law enforcement helicopter, media helicopter, they're all circling and hovering in the same places. But this particular notice was put out to WFLA to leave the area, to vacate the airspace as a result of the audio, it just being too loud there for law enforcement personnel on the ground. So I just wanted to confirm with our team here that I could share that with you. Ali says if noise in the air is an issue, drones would work better with the hashtag. And yeah, they do have drones in the air. So that was when they originally told Eagle to vacate the area. I want to continuously throw up JJ's picture on screen here for people that are just joining. When they initially told Eagle to vacate the area, I thought maybe it might be to just create more room for the law enforcement aircraft, both from a helicopter and UAV, a drone perspective. We do know that drones are being used. I don't know if we've seen any on this particular Eagle video feed. However, we do know from a statement from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office that drones are being used in this search effort. Yeah, this is interesting. Blindside Hashtag KJB, do you know, I was thinking the same thing. Do you know if the parents had a Ring doorbell camera or any surveillance cameras? Was this used? Was this part of the equation as far as knowing when JJ left? And maybe does it give us any idea as to where JJ might have went? We have not been given any word as to whether or not there was any surveillance or any video of any kind that points to a confirmation of JJ leaving in a specific fashion. The Cook Journey, hashtag KJB, is there anything that we can do to help? Just if you're in the Hernando County area, just share this out and search your properties. Now, look, a 2-year-old on foot isn't going to make it very far. And I'm going to bring up just a map of Hernando County, Florida, just to get a better lay of the land so that I can best prove my point here. We're talking about this being in North Brooksville, but if you're in Spring Hill, a 2-year-old is not going to be able to make it as far as Spring Hill, as far as, the coast. You could make the argument that a 2-year-old isn't going to make it as far as even South Brooksville or some of the other surrounding areas. It's just for a 2-year-old to make it that far on foot and not be seen too, it's just not very likely. But anyone in the area of Brooksville, North Brooksville, that general area, they're asked to search their properties, not organize search parties. The Hernando County Sheriff's Office has been clear that they don't need search party volunteers just yet, but they have a lot of resources on the ground, a lot of manpower on the ground as far as the search efforts right now. It's really just asking folks that live in the area to be looking underneath their vehicles, to look in a shed-like structure or in the woods. It is a dense. The woods there are quite dense. We saw from Brittany's live report earlier. So looking in those wooded areas, looking down any areas where a 2-year-old might fall, that type of thing. So that's really the only way, the best way that we can help, and of course, sharing news with your neighbors and friends in Hernando County. Justine wants to know what he was wearing when he was last seen. As we've mentioned here on stream, he was wearing a gray Batman shirt and gray pants. He has curly blonde hair. As Jeff noted, our chief meteorologist here, sundown's in about around 6:26 or so. That gives us about another roughly 2 hours of sunlight, and that 2 hours is going to be precious. It is a race against time, quite literally, to hopefully find JJ before sunset, before it gets dark. This is not a very urban area. There's not going to be a lot of light once the sun goes down. This is relatively a more rural section of Central Florida as far as Hernando County. And while it's not extremely remote by any means, I mean, just take a look for yourself. I mean, this is the property that we're talking about here. You're just not going to have a ton of light to work with after the sun goes down. There will be some street lights. There will be some lights, of course, on the properties themselves, on individual homes. However, as far as there being an abundance of light, as you would have in some metros, it's just not going to be there. So they are really trying to, for multiple reasons, try to find JJ as quickly as possible. I'm seeing a whole lot about the dogs, and I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking right along with our viewers. I really hope that those canines, or one of the canines, was able to pick up on a scent that hopefully points deputies in the right direction. Finding a 2-year-old by sheriff's helicopter is going to be quite difficult, especially considering how dense this area is, how wooded of an area this is. Being able to see beneath the tree line is going to be very, very difficult. So, boots on the ground, but really paws on the ground are really going to be just an invaluable resource to hopefully track down where JJ went and point deputies in the right direction. Rob Graff, you want to do we have an address of a general area that they disappeared from? We have, it's a home located at Cheever Road, Cheever spelled Cheever Road, and Yontz Road, Yontz, Yontz Road. That's the area of North Brooksville where the child was last seen leaving the home while his parent was asleep. Let's throw up the side-by-side here again. This provides us with the ability to see exactly what we're talking about. On the left side of your screen, video from before Eagle 8HD was told to vacate the area. And on the right side of the screen, the lone picture that we have right now of the missing 2-year-old, a curly, blonde-haired toddler by the name of JJ, last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt and gray pants. I'll continue to answer some questions here on Facebook Live, and let's head over to the Facebook Live comment section, see what folks are saying over here. Our Facebook audience is more local, according to what we have, the statistics that we have. So more people on Facebook that are watching right now are more likely to be local to the Tampa Bay area. YouTube tends to be more of a national and international audience. Susan with a really good question. Was he wearing shoes? We have not been given any word as to whether or not JJ left barefoot. If we know if he left barefoot, if he was wearing socks, or if he was wearing shoes, or anything on his feet. Nicole LaRocca, #KJB. How far is that main road you're showing in the video from the home? That's a really great question. And let's see if I can use Google Maps to give you a better idea. I want to find, there it is, Cheever and Yontz. All right, so from 98, Ponce de Leon Boulevard, I'm going to see if I can do... Okay, it is approximately half a mile. So from 98 to where this home is, it's about a half-mile distance. Which for the average person on Google, that is approximately a 12 to 15-minute walk. But we're talking about a 2-year-old here. But hopefully that provides some context for you, Nicole. I don't know how long it would take a 2-year-old child to walk half a mile. But if you estimated that a 2-year-old was walking a third of the speed of an average person, that might be even giving a 2-year-old too much credit as far as walking speed, not to mention fatigue would set in, and it's warm out at the same time. It would be 45 minutes to an hour, really, for a 2-year-old to make it the half mile to 98, the main roadway in North Brooksville. I'll be looking for some other #AJB questions and comments on Facebook Live. We use the hashtag system so that folks that want to interact with us can. If you do not want to interact with us, just don't use the hashtag. Sarah is following up here asking how long has. Oh, I believe that's Sarah. You might have asked a question earlier. If you haven't, welcome to the live stream. How long has he been missing? Since approximately 9:45 this morning. That's 7 hours. 7 hours roughly 7 hours since JJ was last seen. As we look here, we get a better shot of the canines on one of the properties here and near Cheever and Yontz roads. Joanne is asking, is it a high traffic road? Could there be a kidnapping component to this? 98 is in the grand scheme of things, as far as Hernando County goes. Yeah, 98 is a pretty well traveled road. However, for a 2-year-old to make it that distance, it's, I would imagine, authorities saying that it is highly unlikely that the 2-year-old made it that far. Trisha wants to know, again, people are asking about the family particulars. I have noted that JJ left while a parent was sleeping. As far as the situation regarding JJ's parents, that is unclear at this time. That has not been put out by the Hernando County Sheriff's Office. And so people are asking, is there something with the inner workings of the family that is related to JJ's disappearance? And so as of right now, this is a child that left while one parent was sleeping. We have no additional details at this time to suggest that this was anything related specifically to JJ's family or kidnapping. Terry wants to know, #KJB, are any drones being used? Yes, drones are in the sky. They are law enforcement drones, and they can be used to assist in the search and covering a lot of ground in a short amount of time. Let's head back over to YouTube Live and see what our YouTube Live audience is saying. You know, somebody commented, and I can't, unless it has #KJB, I can't reference the person's name. But somebody in our YouTube comment section saying, I hope that they looked in the dryer. And you'd have to imagine that you would have to look in every nook and cranny of this home, every spot tiny enough for a 2-year-old to hide anywhere, including the dryer, anywhere that a 2-year-old could fit. This is a search you would imagine that is all over the property, adjacent properties, but also thoroughly throughout the house. Do they have any specific evidence to suggest that he is absolutely not in the house? Even then, if you had evidence that JJ did leave at some point, you would still have to check every section of the house to ensure that he didn't come right back. Because if there was video evidence, I'm just saying, if there was video evidence that showed that he left, if there's a blind spot where he was able to re-enter the home, he could be right back in the house. You don't know. You would imagine that given the scope, the magnitude of the search efforts right now, that they are searching everywhere they can, and that, of course, includes the starting point of the house itself. I'm starting to see if we can get some updates from Hernando County folks. That's why I went quiet there for a moment. Left side of your screen, you can see just how many units are on scene, including multiple canine units from multiple different counties. Christy Lynn on Facebook Live wants to know where exactly in Brooksville is this. Eagle 8 HD right now is over North Brooksville. The home is at the intersection of the crossroad of Cheever Road and Yance Road. That's west of 98 in North Brooksville. I don't know if there's maybe is there any point of reference that I can use near here? South of Pasco Hernando State College. It's, let's see. Trying to find the best point of reference for you. It's on 98 north of Brooksville, well, and then west of there. Justine Rebecca on YouTube Live is asking, #KJB, wondering why law enforcement wouldn't accept the help of search parties at this time. They could always direct the parties to stay clear of the area that they are searching. Yeah, I mean, I think they have a ton of ground covered because of the enormity of the response, and it goes beyond the Hernando County jurisdiction. I mean, we have Citrus, Pasco authorities on the ground as well. There's a ton of resources on the ground already, but really the Hernando County Sheriff's Office would be the one. They would be the agency to tell us as to why they weren't asking for search parties or why they didn't want to see search parties. And I believe we've got Brittany Muller on the line. She's going to be trying to join us. Oh, okay, that's good news. All right, so Eagle 8 HD, folks, is about to go back up. So I would imagine then that the advisory has been cleared. As for, again, Eagle was told to vacate the area as the search for JJ continues. And that was because of audio. They wanted it more quiet on the ground. We weren't given an exact reason as to why they wanted it more quiet, but that could be because you're trying to listen for any faint cries of a 2-year-old, seeking help. Also, too, if there's just too much, if a 2-year-old is hiding and there's just a lot of sound, is there a chance that the 2-year-old would be frightened and wouldn't want to come out of a hiding spot? There's a multitude of reasons as to why. Brittany, if you're on the line, I'm going to look for you on the grid. I don't see your shot just yet, but hopefully we can bring you into the live stream here momentarily. Brittany, we're going to tune you in. I got you. I see your text. Okay. Stand by, folks. We'll be bringing in Brittany Muller here in just a second. Be back in 60 seconds on WFLA Now. All right, being told here that the sheriff is about to speak. Back here with you live on WFLA now. Let's bring in WFLA's Brittany Muller joining us here live, everybody. Brittany, hello there to you, and what's the very latest on the ground in North Brooksville?
Hey, JB, I just want to make sure, first of all, can you hear me? Is the sound working okay for you guys?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, wonderful. So we're here in North Brooksville right now on Cheever Roads and Yonce Roads. We do know that Hernando County Sheriff Al Nienhuis just arrived on scene, so we're going to be flipping around the camera in a seconds here, but I do want to let you know that 2-year-old missing boy has been missing since about 9:45 this morning when his parents woke up from a nap and the toddler was not there. The door was wide open, so a search has been underway ever since then. We do know that his name is JJ. He's 2.5 years old. He was last seen wearing a dark gray Batman t-shirt as well as dark gray pants. He has blonde curly hair. We have his photo posted all over social media, so hopefully you're continuing that. They're asking the homeowners in this area in North Brooksville to check their properties. Every area of your property. We know a lot of residents out here have barns, they have animals, they have vehicles. They're asking them to go through, help with this search just to make sure that JJ isn't hiding somewhere. We do know that this is a massive search. The Hernando County Sheriff's Office, when we last spoke with them this afternoon, 50 units on the ground. They have been searching for JJ on foot, using their drones as well as their aviation unit, on horseback, on ATVs. We have seen all of this. It's been a very thorough search since about 9:45 this morning. They have not seen him yet. We do know that this is a heavily wooded area. The Sheriff's Office also says that there are some retention ponds and pools in the area, so they're making sure that those areas are covered. They say that they are going to be searching for JJ until he's found. We spoke with some of the neighbors out here. They're very shocked to hear some of this news. Some of them just taking it upon themselves to come out here asking the Sheriff's Office if they can assist in the search. So we do know that Sheriff Al Nienhuis is here. They're starting to do sound checks with us. So I do want to let you know that we are going to turn around the camera. We have 8 minutes. Wait, hang on 1 second. We're just getting an update. Okay, we have just learned that they are doing an update exactly at 5. So we have 8 minutes until we get the latest update from Sheriff Nienhuis. So right now, that's the very latest. It's a massive search that's underway. They're using all resources out here to find JJ and return him safely home. And that is the goal out here right now, JB.
All right, Brittany Muller is reporting for us in North Brooksville. Brittany, I'm going to give you a couple minutes there to kind of get set up for this 5 o'clock roughly 5 o'clock press conference there in North Brooksville. Perhaps you can answer some of the questions that I've been fielding here from our audience on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. One of the questions that we got, do we have any idea as to whether or not the dogs, the canine units, have picked up any scent? Is there any hope in that regard yet that you've heard?
So I have not heard anything. We've been asking, hopefully we're going to be hearing those responses. That's one of our questions. We're going to be asking the sheriff directly if they've picked up any traces of JJ's scent by using the canine unit out here. So at this point, we don't have those answers, but hopefully in about 6 minutes, we will know more.
Another question, do we have any confirmation? We have been told that JJ left the home, but was there anything that we know about that confirms that he left the home? People were asking, is there a Ring doorbell camera on the front of the home, or are there any surveillance cameras, anything that tells us definitively that JJ was seen leaving that house?
At this point, we haven't gotten word from the sheriff's office about why they believe that this young boy wandered away from their home, but that's what we have been told, that JJ has wandered away from the home, and that's what they believe at this point.
And one final question before we let you get ready for the press conference. People have been asking about the the fact that there are some out there that want to volunteer to help as far as getting some more boots on the ground and searching. The sheriff's office is saying that that they don't need volunteers right now. Clearly, based on what we're seeing from Eagle 8 HD on your screen, folks, there's an enormous law enforcement presence there, as Brittany has been reporting as well. But with daylight being so precious and only having about an hour and 45 minutes left of daylight, Brittany, is there any reason as to why volunteers aren't being used and why search parties aren't being used as a potential way of finding JJ?
Well, we asked that, and right now they're just focusing on the deputies and the local authorities to help with that search right now. But the sheriff's office says when the time is needed and if they need volunteers, they will be asking for the community's help. But right now, that hasn't been called for. But we're going to be hearing from the sheriff himself in about 4 minutes, and maybe that will change then. But right now, you know, it's a very sensitive time out here, so we're just following what they're saying and really praying and hoping that JJ is returned safely home to his family out here. But we do know that the sheriff will be speaking in a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and hop off and WFLA now, and we're going to get set up just to provide you the very latest so you can hear the sheriff himself.
Thank you, Brittany. We'll be following your shot. I'll be following it here in the stream center. Thank you so much, and we'll be following your latest reporting. Thanks a lot. All right, Brittany Miller, folks, excuse me, reporting for us there in North Brooksville, keeping us up to date on the very latest. Let's again show you the picture of JJ. And this is just cute kid here, 2 years old, curly blonde hair, wearing a Batman shirt, gray shorts as well. And we're just hoping and praying that JJ is found safe and sound. Here is the shot that we can show you now of the press conference as it's about to get underway. On the right there, Hernando County Sheriff Al Nienhuis, who our audience here on WFLA Now might remember from some other breaking news live streams that we have done. Also, I will show you here in the stream center. You can tap on the touch screen here and we can show you that this is now a live picture. Eagle 8 HD back in the air after the advisory was lifted. The advisory that asked us to ground Eagle for a short time. Eagle heading back to the scene. We'll have live aerial video from Eagle to show you what the search effort looks like as we have approximately now an hour and a half or so of sunlight before it gets dark there in North Brooksville. Daylight is, of course, so precious when it comes to these search efforts, especially when you're talking about a missing 2-year-old.
I got 58, so.
Yep, they are going to be going at the top of the hour. This is to allow media outlets in the area to...
For our friends at...
Yeah, I don't want to pick up any of the side chatter here. This is done so that media outlets such as WFLA are given time to prepare and to break into coverage and do what they need to do to prepare for the presser getting underway. But it looks like it's about to begin. Let's listen in.
Are we good to go? 1 minute? Okay. I've got...
I got 59 now.
Okay, go ahead. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start the press conference here. Again, my name is Hernando County Sheriff Al Nienhuis, spelled N-I-E-N-H-U-I-S, and it's pronounced Nienhuis. We're here out at Cheever Road in Hernando County. For reference, it's just a little bit north of Yance Road, between Cobb Road and Ponce de Leon. It's in a fairly rural area of Hernando County. The lots are very large and most of them are very wooded. There's some farm animals around and so forth. And around almost exactly at noon today, we received a call from this residence advising that JJ, their son, was missing. He's about 2 years old. He has blonde curly hair, and according to the mother, he had been missing for about an hour at the time she called us. We have done a neighborhood canvass several times, not only talking to neighbors, but also searching homes in the area. And we're relatively confident that a witness, a fairly reliable witness as far as we can tell, saw JJ in the front yard playing with the dogs at about 10:40 a.m. So we believe that he disappeared somewhere between 10:40 and 11, if the mother is accurate at the time she gave us. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to locate him. We have well over 50 law enforcement personnel from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, between 50 and 60 of them out here doing everything you could possibly imagine to find JJ. We have individuals from the Department of Corrections with their bloodhound. We have Pasco Sheriff's Office with a bloodhound. We have the Citrus County dive team up here looking at some bodies of water that are very close to the house. But as of right now, we have no indication that he was abducted or he wandered off. We just don't know what happened. Unfortunately, the time delay did not help us any, but we have been scouring the woods with the bloodhounds, with our regular patrol canines, and deputies have been coming back just covered in sand spurs looking for little JJ and calling out for him. We've had the helicopter up with the FLIR and the camera trying to see any indication of him, and unfortunately we have not been able to get any indication at all where he might be. We have also checked any sexual offender or sexual predator in the area. We have checked them all off the list, and every single one of them without exception was cooperative, even let us come in and look in their house and search their house just to rule that out as a possibility. I can tell you that we're not going to go home until we find JJ. The family is being very cooperative with us, and they know that we're out here working extremely hard to figure out exactly what happened. As I said, it's a challenge because it's a very wooded area and it's very difficult to see from the helicopter. We're thinking maybe as the sun goes down, the forward-looking infrared cameras might be able to give us some indication where he might be. And I'm also told that some of the bloodhounds might work a little better as the sun starts to go down. So everybody out here, the Hernando County Fire Rescue's been out here helping us. Everybody is dedicated to finding little JJ. Now, I do want to tell the audience out there that if you live anywhere near this location, to please check your property. He's a 2-year-old, but I'm told he's a very, very rambunctious 2-year-old. Probably acts a little older than he actually is, as you might expect. And so he might have gotten further away than we anticipate, and he might be hiding in someone's shed or their garage. So we would certainly appreciate everybody that's probably within a mile or two at least of this to check their property 3 or 4 times to make sure JJ isn't hiding in a car or in a shed or something like that. Also, if you have a family member, again, we don't have any indication he's been abducted, but if you have a family member that's acting strange, we're going to check out every lead that comes in until we find JJ. So if anybody's acting weird, please give us a call and let us come talk to him or her and see if we can rule that person out as a possible suspect if, God forbid, JJ was abducted. So I can't answer much questions because we don't have many answers, but I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have. There has been some indications. I don't want to go into too much detail. They've had some direction, and we've been working really hard in that direction. Of course, in these situations, there are a lot of possibilities. That's why we have a lot of different resources here with different abilities. You know, we obviously hope that we find him alive and well. That's our hope.
Is there any chance the parents aren't being forthcoming?
As of right now, I've been talking to my detectives, and of course nobody is ruled out as a suspect, but I can tell you that my detectives, and I have a couple of my best detectives, we're interviewing them, and they, at this point in time, we don't have any reason to believe that any family member or any associate of the family appears to have anything to hide at all, and they want to find JJ just as much as we do.
Did the witness notice the toddler in the yard at 10:45? Was that his yard? Or
that was in his front yard. A neighbor happened to be going by and saw him in the front yard. I think he saw with some of the dogs and didn't think anything of it. Unfortunately, the family didn't notice him missing for quite some time. And then again, another thing that anybody who's ever missing a child, call law enforcement instantly. Don't look for the child for an hour before you call us because obviously we'd much rather get here and get canceled on the way or have you find the toddler than have an hour lag time. So, but this individual was pretty adamant that he knows the young boy, hasn't interacted with him, but he's seen him in the yard before, and he didn't think anything of it, but he had the exact time because he went and got gas and had the gas receipt, so he was able to tell us exactly when he saw the kid. So. I'm sorry, I can't hear. Well, I will tell you that, again, it makes it difficult for the dogs and that so forth, but I think if people do want to volunteer, particularly on the outskirts, again, we don't think he got past Yance Road or Cobb or 98, but we may have people start checking those areas just in case. We've been in that block area. It's a lot larger than a city block, but that area bounded by those three streets, rather, we've been searching frantically in that area. We think it's very unlikely that a 2-year-old could cross any of those major roads without somebody seeing him, but we'll definitely take that help. Just keep in mind that anybody who comes, we're going to run their background to make sure that they don't have a criminal history and so forth, and then they're welcome to check some of the areas. And again, it's very, very difficult area to search because he's very small, and some of these woods and the trees make it very difficult to see, sometimes even a few feet because the grass is so high. We've been looking into that, and we actually are looking right now at a delivery truck driver that we understand may have delivered a package in the area around that time and may have some camera footage, but I haven't got that confirmed yet. But unfortunately, because the houses are so far apart and set back, if there are any with Ring cameras, it's not going to show a whole lot. But we've been checking and double checking that, but I don't think we've had anything specific come up yet. So.
Obviously, it's a race against time. I mean, just how concerned are you as every minute that goes by, it makes it tougher to find something?
Right, and again, starting, as I said, and I don't blame the parents because I'd probably do the exact same thing. I would spend time looking for my kid because I wouldn't want to bother law enforcement. So I'm not being critical of them. They're dealing with something that's unimaginable to most of us. But that being said, even that first hour really put us behind, and now every hour that goes by, another 5 hours so far, it certainly doesn't make us more hopeful. If anything, it's less hopeful. So.
Sheriff, did JJ have any kind of experience around water? Is there any reason to believe he might have gravitated toward water?
Well, I will tell you that anybody who has raised small children know that they tend to gravitate towards water, so that is obviously something that we're looking at. The Citrus County Dive Team is here searching. I'm happy to report that they haven't found anything yet, because if they find something, the news is probably going to be pretty grim. But it's the body of water they're looking at is fairly large, and anybody who's been in this area and seen a pond, it's very difficult to search. It's literally inch by inch. So we're probably going to have additional dive teams come in tomorrow and help search that particular pond, as well as maybe some other bodies of water in the area that are a little further away. Pretty unlikely that he got that far away, but we're not ruling anything out. We're going to uncover every stone we can until we find him. So.
Can you reiterate exactly how the parents thought he got out? They were sleeping?
what I'm being told, and obviously that isn't our first priority right now, we're trying to find him, but my detectives have been interviewing him to see if they could get any additional information from the parents. But it's my understanding that a relative dropped him off about 9:45 and he was sleeping. The caregiver was also sleeping, and he was apparently put next to that person or whatever, and so that's why they know they could only say 9:45, and then didn't call us till noon. But again, somebody apparently saw him in the yard around 10:40, and according to the mother, she believes he was discovered missing around 11. So we think we're talking about a 20-minute window, but obviously that's all subject to change as we get more information. So.
Does he have special needs or anything?
Other than being a toddler, no, not that I know of.
And where are the parents now, and how are they doing, Sheriff?
Well, you can. They're down by the command post, and as you can imagine, they are distraught. They're upset. They're frustrated like we are. They are just holding their breath, and they're I'm sure they're praying hard. All right, and the minute we know anything, hopefully we'll know something sooner rather than later, but we're going to be out here for the duration, and we have plans set up for tonight as well as tomorrow for additional resources to come in, and as anything breaks, we'll certainly get you more information. But again, if the public could keep their eyes open for him, and if they know of anything strange whatsoever, we even, and it's a little bit, I don't want to say humorous, but we even had somebody from out of state call in claiming to be a psychic and gave us an address, and we went and checked it out. It turned out to be nothing. Fortunately, it was very specific, and it turned out to be nothing. But if we'll follow a lead from a psychic, we will certainly follow a lead from a family member that says, my family member is acting a little strange, and we think that person might be involved. So make sure you give us a call. Thank you all for covering this. We certainly appreciate you getting the word out.
The mountain unit is coming up. You'll get a shot of them.
Yeah, I didn't say that too. Our civilian mounted unit, our volunteers are out here looking through the woods, and they have a very unique advantage when they're sitting up high and they can go just about anywhere. So they're very, very useful for this type of thing. So.
Can we expect routine updates, or how are we going to?
Yeah, we'll be trying to put out something as often as we can, and if we find something, we'll definitely let you know.
Do you anticipate coming back out there?
If we don't find anything, I don't know if there's anything I can really say.
And then, are we releasing the toddler's full name? I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, okay.
Sheriff Al Nienhuis, as we get a look here at the mounted units on horseback, every resource that they have, every resource at the disposal of not just the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, but also other counties as well participating. The Citrus County Dive Team is on location as well. JB here with you live in the WFLA Now Stream Center here, folks. This is JJ. This is the picture. 2 years old, 2.5 really. Curly blonde hair, last seen wearing a Batman shirt. Again, I'll give you the most accurate description that we have. Gray Batman shirt, gray pants, has blonde hair. This is the picture that I want everyone to hone in on, but really we're really focused and hyper-focused on Eagle 8 HD, which is now back above the search area. We've been showing it to you here in the split screen side by side, and we'll be, of course, just keeping our eyes glued to these images as we see various law enforcement personnel scattered across the search area. And this is, of course, getting more and more urgent every single minute because we only have so much daylight left. JJ has been missing for approximately, well, let's go over the timeline of what we learned here. That it was around noon, law enforcement was notified, and a reliable witness saw JJ outside of the home playing with dogs around 10:40 a.m. And apparently we know that because a reliable witness who happened to see JJ had bought gas at that time and had a gas receipt, a time-stamped gas receipt that tells us, gives us a better indication of approximately when JJ was last seen by this reliable witness around 10:40 or so. There is no indication that he was abducted. They have every available resource scouring the woods. JJ is described as rambunctious. But if anyone is acting any differently or anyone is in the area is acting a little bit strange or out of character, Sheriff Al Nienhuis, they don't want to take any chances. They're asking you to contact law enforcement so they can rule that person out. Now, our audience on WFLA Now asked us about whether or not there was any indications of assent. That is a user-generated question that we took to Sheriff Al Nienhuis. It was one of the first questions that he was asked. And the good news is that there was some indications, that's the quote, some indications of assent picked up by the dogs or a dog, but they don't want to go too much further than that. And that also doesn't provide us with much information because we don't know if that tells us that they know where JJ was heading or a direction that he was heading, or if it's just somewhere on the property that they picked up a scent that tells us that he was there. So we can't read too much into that. The family didn't notice for about for a period of time, and law enforcement wasn't contacted for a period of roughly an hour. Interesting to hear Sheriff Nienhuis say multiple times, if this happens in the future, you're not inconveniencing law enforcement by calling right away when a child is missing. That gives them a heads up. I'm speaking here for the Hernando County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Al Nienhuis. He says in his words, they would much rather receive word that the call has been canceled if the child is found. If the child is found in the aftermath of the phone call being placed. So this is, of course, just an urgent situation with Hernando County officials. I believe we've got Brittany Muller, who's going to be joining us here again momentarily. We'll give her just a moment, and we'll bring her back into the conversation. Again, reviewing my notes, the Citrus County dive team is on site, but they have not found anything, which, of course, as Sheriff Al Nienhuis pointed out, is good news, because if you find a toddler in water at this stage, that, of course, is not going to be good news. But I want to bring in Brittany now. Brittany, perhaps one of the most interesting nuggets that we learned over the course of this press conference. I'm not sure if it was a question from you or if it was a question from another reporter, but we asked about the possibility of there being any video of JJ and that there was a delivery truck driver that might have captured something.
Exactly. We asked that question after one of the viewers that you brought that up just a short while ago. So one of the delivery drivers may have captured something on video. So, of course, the sheriff's office detectives are taking that route to see if they can learn anything about where JJ is. And at this time, it's not that anyone's losing hope, but they want to bring him home. They want to bring him home safe and alive. We see the civilian horseback going by right now, helicopters in their air. We know the dive team was out here. It's all hands on deck to find this boy. They say they're not going home until they find JJ. We do know at this time the family, JJ's family, is being cooperative. So that's a good sign right now. We do know that they're trying to assist in the investigation however they can to bring JJ home. So we also asked the Sheriff Al Nienhuis, if the canines picked up any trace or scent of the young boy. At this time, they say there was a possible trace of scent, so they are looking into that general location, but they still have not been able to find him. Also noteworthy, during that press conference, the sheriff said that they have checked every registered sexual predator in the area. They even went into their homes, and they have been cleared at this time. They do not have JJ inside their homes. They don't know anything. So that was another nugget that we learned from the news conference. It's just all hands on deck. We have seen everyone out here. The sheriff did give an update about volunteers who want to contribute in the search. They don't want them in the area to prevent them from their investigation and the scent with the canines, but if you want to come out to the outskirts of the search, you're more than welcome to assist and help in that manner. This is a very fluid situation. We're learning more and more Sheriff Nienhuis says that they're going to be continuing throughout the night, and they even have plans tomorrow to continue this search to make sure that they find JJ, this 2-year-old boy. We have been sharing his photo. He has curly blonde hair. He's 2.5 years old. So we know a little bit more about that timeline now, and I'm going to look at my notes. But so we do know that the neighborhood was canvassed several times since authorities arrived on scene. A neighbor told law enforcement that they saw JJ playing in their front yard about 10:40 this morning. Law enforcement was called at noon. The parent that was watching JJ had been searching for the past hour, so around 11 a.m., but didn't call until noon. So that placed the investigation back an hour. So they're really working against time. And of course, the sun setting, it's more of a challenge when the sun is going to go down. But the sheriff's office says that they're going to be continuing to search because they know that this is a wooded area out here. They have the retention ponds, pools out here. So they're searching by land, ATV, in the air, drones, helicopters, whatever resources that they have, they're putting forth right now to make sure that JJ is returned safely to his family.
Brittany Muller joining us, everybody, from North Brooksville, where this is all unfolding. Brittany, before I continue to have a conversation with you, I know that you're going to be bouncing back and forth between WFLA Now and, of course, broadcast television. How long do you have with us on stream, just so I know and I can get you out of here on time?
I have about 40 minutes. We're not, or 30 minutes. We're not going back on Channel 8 live on air until 6 p.m. when we talk with and do a one-on-one with Sheriff Al Nienhuis to just talk about that investigation. So we have time, JB.
All right. Thanks, Brittany. That helps me out a lot. What I'd like for you to do, Brittany, if you can, and I'm not sure which photojournalist that you are there with today, but if you could maybe do a bit of a 360 and just kind of give us a lay of the land as far as where you are right now, and just kind of show us a bit of the terrain, what it's like in North Brooksville, and what deputies are combing through right now.
Sure. So my photographer, Dave, I'm with Dave Crow. Dave, would you mind pulling the camera off the tripod? We're also working with the sun just to make sure we have the best image. So we're going to turn you around right here. The sheriff is about to pull off from where we did the press conference and head back into the neighborhood where JJ was last seen. So in this vehicle is Sheriff Al Nienhuis. We do also see the Hernando County Fire Rescue Unit. More fire rescue units are to the left. We recently saw the K9 unit, and that's from Citrus.
And Brittany, I'm going to
Hernando.
interrupt you for a second. So is it right across the street, is that the house? I just want to make sure that our viewers can, we can follow here what you're pointing at.
So Cheever Road is down here, right here where the sheriff just entered. The house, we're told the house that the boy wandered off from is a few houses down. So it's not in our sight that we can see the house where this all unfolded from. We do know it's somewhere down Cheever Road, a few houses behind the yellow house, which you can see. The sheriff's office is set up. They have a command unit out there. The road is closed off to media, so we are not allowed down there right now. But we do know there's a helicopter up. They have the drones, the canines, horseback. The civilian unit is out, really all hands on deck. And this is what kind of we're dealing with right now. This is Yonce Road in North Brooksville that you could see the vehicles passing by. And again, Cheever Road is where the homes are, and that's the community where the boy went missing, JJ. And we also see FWC just arrived on scene. We also have seen state troopers. We know the dive team is out here. It's I would say emotional in some ways because everyone just wants the safe return of this young 2-year-old boy. So that's what we know right now. We do know that they're continuing this investigation. No matter when the sun goes down, they will be actively searching for JJ to return him home safely.
Thank you, Brittany. That gives, and thank you to Dave as well, that gives us a better idea as to exactly where you are in relation to the search efforts. And if Dave would like to go back to a tripod, he absolutely can. We're showing you now live, full screen, Eagle 8 HD, and we're looking here through, this is a pretty dense wooded area, and I'm trying to make out what Eagle is following here. This might be deputies on horseback, but this shot, I want everyone to really get a better idea of this shot, because this shot really provides us with an idea as just to how how dense some of these areas are. And there's the waterway there. So the Citrus County dive team is on location. Brittany, one thing that, everything is focused on the recovery efforts right now or finding JJ and hopefully finding him and recovering him safe and sound. We'll go back to Dave's shot here. Actually, Dave is showing we have another vehicle here. Is that fire rescue in Hernando County, Brittany?
Yes, fire rescue is just leaving the neighborhood. We see several deputies on scene. They're just leaving. There are more on scene, so people are coming and going, but we see the deputy car just turned around. This is Hernando County Fire Rescue pulling out of this neighborhood at this time. But there's another one. You could see a ladder is right here. So there's no shortage of people on scene. Detectives, they've been canvassing the area, the neighborhood several times. We also have seen neighbors out here. You could see on this property, kids are also out here. Everyone just wants to help and really talk with detectives, saying what they know. I also asked about the surveillance video and the Ring doorbell, and that's when Sheriff Nienhuis talked about the delivery driver and potentially having another clue or video that they can maybe possibly lead to where JJ is. So right now, there's activity out here on Cheever Road, which we're in North Brooksville. And that's a little past this yellow house back here. But we have seen the K-9 unit, drones up, civilians on horseback, deputies on horseback, really searching in the wooded areas and the ponds. The dive team is back there. And it's not just Hernando County searching. And this is a really good point. When a child goes missing like this, everyone comes together. All the counties nearby really assist their resources to do whatever they can to make sure that they can help in times of need. And that's what we're seeing out here.
Brittany Muller reporting for us. What we're going to do, folks, is, and Brittany, if you'd like to hop back on camera, what we'll try to do is we'll try to answer as many hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyBrittany questions and comments that we have coming in because, of course, and this is what I was trying to get at before we saw the Hernando County Fire Rescue vehicle that I want to spotlight there. The focus tonight is on finding JJ. I was a little bit confused when Sheriff Al Nienhuis was describing the circumstances of the disappearance in relation to somebody being asleep and whether JJ was asleep. Can you kind of review that for us? Because even I was a little bit fuzzy as to how he was describing that, Brittany.
I was too. I'm going to pull up my notes so we have the timeline because I want to make sure that this is right for everyone. So apparently a neighbor saw JJ in the front yard at 10:40, and that was the last time he was seen. The sheriff also alluded to his caregiver taking a nap, and when she was woken up, she saw the door was open and no sign of JJ. So she started searching and didn't call law enforcement until noon. And so within minutes, law enforcement deputies were out here. So that hour, the sheriff kept talking about that hour. Really, every second matters when they're looking for a missing child. So right now they're trying to do everything that they can before the sun goes down, and that work will continue after. But obviously the daylight helps tremendously in a search like this.
As we prepare to take your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyBrittany questions and comments, and look, some of the questions that we took from our audience live, Brittany, were excellent earlier, and we posed those questions to Sheriff Al Nienhuis. So we'll continue to engage with our audience, some of them joining us locally from Hernando County, some of whom were joining us from elsewhere in the country or around the world, just concerned about the missing 2-year-old here, JJ. As we wait for some of the comments to come in, like this one, hashtag HeyJB, this is heartbreaking. Brittany, how much are we starting to lose daylight? Are we getting to the point now where the sun is getting to a point in the sky where the daylight is starting to retreat?
We can definitely tell that the sun will be setting. I mean, the sun is going down, and we'll probably have an hour and a half left before we're in darkness. So they are working against the clock right now to make sure that they can do everything they can while the sun is still up. It's really a challenge. It poses a challenge, especially with these heavily wooded areas and the retention ponds. And, you know, it's hard tracking through, like even in this area over here, it doesn't seem like it, but when the deputies and canines were down there, you couldn't even see the canine because he was so deeply in that area, that grassy area. So that's why they're doing the work that they can do right now, because the sun is up and they're trying to cover as much land as they can right now.
Let's get to this question coming in from Nick. Why no Amber Alert? Amber Alert criteria, of course, mandates that there has to be evidence of an abduction. So that's why an Amber Alert has not been put out. But Brittany, while you're there, this is cell phones now are all geolocated as far as alerts going out. Have you received any alerts on your phone? Have alerts gone out from a cellular perspective to people in Hernando County to be on the lookout for JJ?
No, at this point, we have not received an Amber Alert because it hasn't met that criteria at this point, but we have not received a be on the lookout alert for JJ at this time. We're in this area and I haven't received anything that came to my phone yet, but if we do, of course, we'll keep you updated and we'll make sure, you know, it's so stunning that the technology is able to do that. And, you know, we hear those noises from our phones and we immediately look, and hopefully everyone in this North Brooksville area is alerted to what is going on so they can help assist and just look out on their properties. And that's another nugget that the sheriff was talking about today, making sure that residents in this area are checking their properties. Many residents also have barns, so going in your barn, making sure that there's no hiding spots where a little child could be tucked away, or checking underneath a car or inside of a vehicle. Everything that you could do right now matters, and if you were to see or know anything about the disappearance of JJ, to call 911 immediately.
Brittany Muller reporting for us here, everybody. Katie wants to know, do we know if JJ had shoes on?
We don't know that. We talked with the sheriff's office about that. We don't know if JJ had shoes on, and that's a huge thing out here because, you know, this is a grassy area, a wooded area. There's ant piles out here, and at this point, he hasn't been seen since a little after 10 a.m. So it's been hours now, and for only a 2-year-old, it could be some pretty intense conditions out here. So we're just hoping for the best. Everyone is praying and hoping for the best.
You know, I was just thinking about the, you know, if the technology exists for us to put out an alert for a missing child just because the child wasn't abducted, I don't understand why we can't still use every available resource. If every available law enforcement resource is being utilized to find JJ, I'm just asking as a journalist, and I'm not asking this to you, Brittany, I'm just asking in general. I don't understand why every technological resource can't be employed to find a missing child when a 2-year-old just disappears. I would just, you know, I've talked about Amber Alerts before and Florida missing child alerts on stream, and I just think that if the technology exists and it can be used to help find a child in a situation as desperate as this, I don't understand what a possible reason could be for not using that technology. Fernando wants to know, hashtag HeyJB, when did the caretaker say that she woke up and noticed the child missing? So I have my notes, Brittany, I know that you have your notes as well. And this all taking place sometime around 11 a.m. because they said, Sheriff Al Nienhuis, I think, said that it was about an hour. They were behind the 8 ball about an hour, so to speak.
Yes, exactly right. So it was an hour. So 11 a.m. they noticed that JJ wasn't around and they couldn't find him. So the caregiver went searching around noon, or 11:59 to be exact. They called law enforcement. They called 911, said deputies need to come. JJ's missing. Deputies arrived on scene within minutes and started canvassing the area, doing everything that they can to cover as much ground. So at this point, unfortunately, they haven't yet been able to find him, and we're just hoping for the best. But that's the current situation out here.
You know, another thing we haven't talked about, Brittany, is the final little nugget that we got during the press conference. And I think this was used to illustrate a point. But Sheriff Nienhuis said that they are taking this, they are treating this situation with such care that they even fielded a call from a psychic and checked out a tip from a psychic saying to look at this very specific address as well.
Yeah, you know, in situations like this, they can't rule out anything. They want to take everything any tip that anyone says very seriously, and they take it with such care and consideration. And the deputies, the sheriff himself is so sensitive to this situation, a 2-year-old that's missing from our community. So anyone that has any tips or knows anything, they look into it and they take the time to do that because everything matters at this point.
I've been a photographer, Brittany. I know that Dave has been on the shoulder now for a minute. If he needs to go back on the tripod, you tell Dave that I said that he absolutely can. There's no he can absolutely go back to sticks if he'd like. Yeah, you know, Emily Baldwin is saying, what's the harm of putting out an Amber Alert? It's stupid not to use that resource and it's a disservice. Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be an Amber Alert, just because people think that an alert that goes out on a phone has to be an Amber Alert. There are other alerts that can be utilized as far as taking advantage of cellular technology and putting it out to a geographic location. However, yeah, I mean, Nick is asking here, how far do you think that he can go on foot? 98, I think, Brittany, roughly, is approximately, I don't know, half a mile away from you guys. Ponce de Leon Boulevard is about half a mile down the road from where you guys are.
Yeah. Let me ask my photographer. He's from Hernando County, so he knows this better than I would. But how far is Ponce de Leon from where we are? Half mile? Probably about a mile from where we are. We're just a little bit north of Cheever Road on Yance Road. So for some reason, the sheriff alluded to that they don't think the child made it that far. They believe that he's in this area. So that's where they're focusing all their efforts to at this point. But we see people continue to come and assist in this search. There's so many resources on deck and they continue to come. It's a very impressive search out here, and we know that no resource is wasted out here because they are actively searching for this little boy. But let's see. Oh, we do also see Eagle 8 HD up here. Drones were up here.
Brittany, how you doing?
But as we continue to talk,
Brittany, you okay?
I'm okay. You know, this is always a hard situation to see. You know, in my experience, we've unfortunately covered missing kids in the past, and we always hope for the best. And this is a very sensitive situation. We haven't seen the family, but we obviously know they're very emotional, and we can't really imagine what they're going through right now. But we're hoping that deputies can really help reunite this family at this point. But I'm okay, and I hope that this family will be okay.
Likewise, I'm with you there. I'm just checking in on our reporters in the field. Tracy, with this question for you, Brittany, #HeyBrittany, sometimes we have, I don't know if this is something that you have heard, but mentioning the idea of playing a theme or a tune of his favorite cartoon, like something like a cartoon like Bluey, something really loud or continuous or something that he can recognize. So if he's out there
JB, I lost you. I believe that you were talking about playing a tune of his favorite cartoon. Yeah, I'm sure that detectives are doing everything in their power to try to think of every resource, and unfortunately in their line of work, I'm sure they've done this before, so they have tried and they know the tricks of what can maybe take a child out of hiding and bring him to safety. So of course we don't know the ins and outs of this investigation right now, and we don't know what's going on outside of this area. So we're just waiting. Hopefully we'll get another update. But we do know that Sheriff Al Nienhuis will be joining us live on Channel 8 in about 20 minutes. So hopefully there's going to be another update for us, and maybe we'll get some good news. But if not, we know that search is continuing. So 20 minutes away from Sheriff Al Nienhuis joining us live with Brittany Muller on WFLA News Channel 8, your NBC station here in Tampa Bay, Florida, but also right here on stream on WFLA Now. Brittany's going to join us for, Brittany, can I keep you for another about 10 minutes before you get ready for that interview? Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
it's good to have Brittany back. Yeah, I think we just had a drop call there as the reason why we got periodically disconnected. You can use hashtag HeyJB. You can use hashtag HeyBrittany. Brittany on the right side of your screen. I'm here on the left, and in the center of your screen, Eagle 8 HD participating in this search, documenting the search efforts as it happens and plays out in real time. But also too, we're keeping our crews here and our crews in the sky, keeping our eyes peeled, looking for anything that might be able to help out law enforcement. Just doing our part, doing everything that we can to help in the search for JJ. Here's a question from Zach. Hashtag HeyJB. Have they searched and cleared the house?
They've been going in and out of the house. They've been in talking with the family. The family is cooperating. So right now, JJ's not inside the house. They have reason to believe that he's outside, wandering around somewhere. So at that point, yeah, the house has been cleared and searched multiple times. So we're just waiting for good news.
Brittany, what we're going to do is you and I, while I have you for another few minutes, and again, getting ready for Sheriff Al Nienhuis at the top of the hour, we're going to do a brief recap. As I just was informed, and this is how social media works, folks. The big thing on social media today was Alex Murdaugh testifying in South Carolina. That was a highly anticipated event on social media, of course. And now a lot of people that were watching Alex Murdaugh and that testimony, they have now found our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. So what we're going to do is do a brief recap, and people who have just been joining, I'm seeing a lot of comments, people asking for a brief recap. So let's kind of break this down and explain what we know at this time. Let's go split screen, and we'll show you here on the right side of your screen. That is JJ, a missing 2-year-old who was last seen, according to a reliable witness, outside of his home around 10:40 this morning. JJ has not been seen since, after a caretaker at the home was asleep and JJ disappeared. Now, this is a home in North Brooksville, Florida. This is in Hernando County, north of Tampa. Relatively rural, but everything is relative. So I don't want to say that this is a remote area or anything to that extent, but definitely more of a rural section of the Tampa Bay area. Every resource in the Tampa Bay area that is at the disposal of law enforcement is currently being used. So they're scouring the woods. They're on horseback. They have drones in the air. They have helicopters in the air. They have dive teams searching the water. They are looking at every nook and cranny in and around the house, hoping to find JJ alive, while we have now approximately now 30 to 40 minutes of daylight left. They do have canines, and there was some indications of a scent that was picked up, but that's all we know at this time. They were also informed of a delivery truck driver that was at or around the scene at the time that was delivering a package that might have some video that helps out law enforcement. They're looking into that at this hour. And of course, following the news of just the timeline of how this went down, law enforcement were informed around noon Eastern time, about an hour or so after JJ was last seen. Brittany, you want to fill in any of the gaps that I missed there as far as the recap, as we're here live from Brooksville?
Sure. Local law enforcement was notified just before noon, 11:59, that JJ was in fact missing. They came here to this neighborhood on Cheever Road near Yonce Road shortly, minutes after they were notified, and they began canvassing the area, canvassing neighbors' homes and just this wooded area. It's a thick, dense area, so there's a lot to cover here. They're asking residents here in North Brooksville to search their properties, look in their cars, underneath their cars, go into the barn, anywhere that a child could be hiding, to go out and help deputies search right now. There's so much land to cover. We do know the dive team, horses, everyone out here is every resource available is out here, not only from Hernando County, but Citrus, Pasco, Sumter counties, assisting in the search for 2-year-old JJ. So we do know that this search will continue until JJ is found. It'll continue even after the sun sets, and they are making a plan for tomorrow how they're going to continue that search. But that's what we know right now, and deputies are hard at work. It's a really impressive collaboration of all the local law enforcement agencies getting together and making it all happen.
You know, Monica brings up a really good question here, and it's do we know if police are using heat sensors? This might be something for the 6 o'clock interview there, Brittany. A potential follow-up question: do we know if infrared equipment will be used? And infrared, of course, like heat sensor technology that is used to show the discrepancies in heat that might be able to show where a child might be hiding. I don't think we've heard anything about that, but especially as daylight starts to retreat and we start to get into these dusk hours or the dusk hour and closer to night, that might be a really precious resource if the technology is available there in Hernando County for deputies.
That technology would be crucial, and typically that infrared and that heat technology is used in the helicopter. They have that technology and they can see from above and like a bird's eye view. So a neighbor was talking about the sheriff's office was using that technology. I have to get that confirmation from Sheriff Nienhuis tonight at 6, but of course we'll certainly ask. Actually, JB, I'm just getting this alert right now. Dave, can you zoom into this? My phone is going off right now. We have a public safety alert. Missing child, Hernando and surrounding counties. FDLE alerts just posted this. I'm going to open it. Let's see. I need my face. Hang on. Let's open this here and see the FDLE alert just came out for a missing child for Joshua J.J. Rowland, 2 years old, here in Hernando County. So this is the alert that we had just been talking about, JB, and it just came out at 5:46 p.m.
5:46 p.m. So this was an alert, and this might be something that we'll have to look into, but there's obviously been a large gap of time, Brittany, between this news reaching our ears, reaching the ears of so many people in Hernando County, and where you're standing right now. The time is now 5:46. We have less than an hour of daylight left, and now this alert is going out for the first time. Do you have any inclination as to why that might be?
No, I have no idea, and we'll be certainly asking the sheriff that because we're very curious to know what was the delay, why didn't this go out sooner? We have a bunch of questions to be asking.
Yeah, we've got Eagle 8 HD. I want to show everybody this. Eagle 8 HD is getting some video of a drone in the air. This is the first time that I have seen. Finding drones, everybody, from Eagle is really difficult. We're talking about a little speck in the sky, especially at higher altitudes for Eagle. So this is the first shot that we have of a drone in the air. Brittany, have you seen drones flying overhead as well?
I have. They're pretty low, so we've been able to see them. They were over here at first in this area, and then they pushed back, so we don't see any drones currently. They've been moving and canvassing this entire area, so everything's been very fluid. The horses, the canines on foot. We've seen the ATVs on Ponce de Leon, so that's about a mile away. So it's just a very active and fluid situation out here.
We've got this question coming in, and we put it up earlier, but coming back to it. Brittany, Huda wants to know, do you see a lot of, when you were driving down the roadway there and arriving to the area and getting a better idea for the lay of the land there in North Brooksville, are there a lot of sheds, or are there a lot of structures that are not the main primary home on the property?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. You know, this area is very rural in a way, in a sense, and there are barns, there's farmland, like I can see right behind the camera. There are a bunch of cows and pastures out here, so people have different barns and buildings on their property. So that's why the sheriff is asking for everyone to really canvass their area to see if there's any pockets or hiding spots that JJ could be in. And that's the current situation out here, just to make sure that people are assisting in that search. We also see a neighbor out here on an ATV. So people are helping in any way that they can. And yeah, the helicopters, drones, it's all resources out here.
Brittany,
this community.
Yeah, a couple of final questions before we let you go to get ready for the interview at 6 o'clock that we'll be carrying live here on WFLA Now, an interview with Brittany asking questions to Sheriff Al Nienhuis. We'll go to this question. Yeah, you know, we were just talking about sheds now, Brittany. Hummingbird wants to know, is there a lot of water in this area? What have you seen? What have you documented in your time in North Brooksville today?
So I haven't seen that directly because we're on Yonce Road. So we only see some of the homes in this area and land. But I asked the sheriff that directly, and he said that there are some retention ponds. There's also some pools. So that's why the dive team is out here as well. They're searching those areas to make sure that JJ isn't found in those areas. And right now there hasn't been any sign of him in any bodies of water. So hopefully that will continue to be.
How, Designed is asking, are they checking other houses? And of course they're checking other houses. But how populated is the area? I'll get you out on this question, Brittany, before you go talk to the sheriff. Just how populated is the area?
Well, I really don't know because we've been focused on this area, but we do know that, the homes are very sporadic. It's a pretty rural area. There's land, the homes are spread far apart. So it's not like a downtown Tampa where the houses are built right up against each other. There's just so much land out here, and that's what we're seeing everywhere. So they have a lot of land to cover, a lot of properties, and that's why deputies are going inch by inch canvassing everywhere that they can go in hopes of finding JJ.
Brittany Muller reporting for us live with photojournalist Dave Kraut. Thank you to you both. Brittany, we'll let you hop off and get ready for your interview that we'll be carrying in about 10 minutes time with Sheriff Al Nienhuis. Nice work out there, and we'll catch up with you in a bit.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Brittany Muller reporting for us live, everybody, as we take you back here to Eagle 8 HD full screen, and we are continuously scouring what we're seeing. But if you've been following now for a period of an hour or more, you've probably really been able to tell we are losing daylight, and we are losing it fast. Sunset in Brooksville is approximately 6:26 p.m. That is approximately, 35 minutes from now. So about a half an hour of sunlight left. But even then, every minute that goes by, we're going to be losing sunlight from this point forward. So it's becoming a frantic, it's already been frantic, it's already been urgent, but we're about to lose sunlight, and that is going to make this extremely difficult. And that's why the question that came in about infrared technology, about heat sensors in cameras, and that technology being incorporated into the search efforts, that is going to be vital. And we'll try to get that question answered when Brittany talks to Sheriff Al Nienhuis coming up here in approximately 8 or 9 minutes' time. Checking back in with our commenters. Yeah, Bella, aren't they having a heat wave in Florida too? Absolutely. It is warmer than normal. Now, look, we have a very, very mild winter here in the Tampa Bay area, extremely mild. The joke around here is that there's about 2 weeks of winter, and that winter feels more like autumn or spring. But we have a very peculiar weather pattern in the area presently, and it is warm on par with May, June temperatures, April, May, June temperatures. So potentially record or near record warmth as far as the Tampa Bay area, because we're used to being in the 50s, 60s, 70s this time of year, and our daytime highs have been significantly higher than that on the Gulf Coast side of Florida. It's uncomfortable out. That's the bottom line. Is that it's hot, it's balmy, and it's been unusually warm in the Tampa Bay area of late. And I know that as a lot of folks are joining us from elsewhere in the country where they're currently getting ready and bracing for massive amounts of snow. It's the exact opposite right now in Tampa Bay. Survivor with a purpose, #HeyJB. Shouldn't the dogs have picked up JJ's scent for quite some distance if he traveled on foot? That was what we were hoping to get some more information on. But again, Sheriff Al Nienhuis saying that there was just some indications of a scent. As we look here at one lone deputy scouring and just looking in in the brush beneath his feet, trying to get a better idea as to if JJ might have come this way. Yeah, we don't know. All Sheriff Al Ninhai said in the earlier interview, again, we're about to have him in about 5 minutes time, so we might find out more in about 5 minutes. However, all we know from that earlier interview is that there was some indications of a scent that was picked up by the dogs or a dog, but we don't know what that led to, if anything at all. Lorraine Avellano, #KJB. Why haven't the parents been on TV asking for assistance in finding their child? Why aren't they giving the public information on the child so that everyone can look everywhere? Imagine being in one of these parents' shoes right now. These parents are quite literally living through their worst nightmare. This is something that even sometimes your worst nightmares will never really go to. The thought of your young child being missing or worse. And one moment being, in the comfort and the security of your own home or on your own property, and then another after dozing off for some time, realizing that child is gone and has vanished. Any parents out there that have lost their child for even a short amount of time knows that gut-wrenching, heart-sinking feeling, and with how debilitating and how difficult that experience can be for parents. Appearing in front of a camera and articulating words is not an easy task, and also, too, might not accomplish all that much when everything that we have already is being used as far as information, such as the time of disappearance, what JJ was wearing at the time. Again, dark gray Batman shirt. And again, going back to the exact description, gray Batman shirt and gray pants, blonde curly hair. This can be an extremely difficult ordeal for parents, and appearing on camera is just it can be nearly impossible for some, given what has transpired. That's just me providing with some context and trying to provide some clarity with the question that was posed. Yeah, no, so dark, yeah, Nikki, dark, or I keep saying dark gray, excuse me. It's a gray Batman shirt and gray shorts. Elizabeth Richardson, #AJB, are they still using the dogs? Yes. But the dogs have entered into an area that so densely, it's a dense wooded area. And so right now, Eagle is showing us anything that we can see. And right now, it's an occasional deputy. It's an occasional officer on horseback. It's an occasional drone or chopper that we come across or cross paths with in the air. So we're just showing what we can. Let's go back to the split screen. Really important that we get this picture up every 10 minutes or so. This is JJ, right side of your screen, missing 2-year-old, last seen by a reliable witness as of around 10:40 this morning. He was outside on the property of his home playing with the dogs, and around 11 a.m., that was when parent/caretaker noticed that JJ was missing. They looked frantically for a time, and then about an hour later, that was when law enforcement was notified. As Sheriff Al Ninhai has pointed out, and this is just a word of caution while we have a large audience, if your child ever disappears, you immediately call law enforcement, even if you think the child might be hiding. If you do not know where your young child is and you're concerned for their safety, it's important to let law enforcement know immediately. They would much rather have the call be canceled than it be a false alarm rather than be an hour behind as far as their search efforts. You can see that there's some team meeting. I want to go back full screen to Eagle here. There's some team meeting that is going on, and this is likely in relation to, and I can't speak, I'm not on the ground, I'm not a law enforcement officer, I don't have anyone on the ground to tell me, but this might be, I can say, might be in relation to the fact that we are now entering a new chapter of this search with about 25 to 30 minutes of sunlight left. So this search looks different an hour from now when the sun is completely retreated and we're under dark skies. So what the search might transition to and how it might look an hour from now, that might be what this meeting is currently about. Brittany Muller standing by with Sheriff Al Nienhuis. He will be speaking live on WFLA News Channel 8 and here on WFLA Now momentarily. In the meantime, I will be paying attention to the Facebook Live and YouTube Live comment section, looking for any comments. As I have been pointing out, and as we do here, we use a hashtag system if you would like your comment to be spotlighted on our news coverage, if you want to point out an observation, if you have a question that you think is important. You can use the hashtag here underneath my name on the left side of your screen. If you use hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyBrittany with your comment, that gives us the ability to then animate your comments on screen as they come in, such as, we'll go really quickly to Cammed Up. Hashtag HeyJB, wonder if the police have thought to check neighbor security camera footage around the area. And I can just speak from experience with so many other searches that have been conducted. Absolutely. As technology has advanced with home security and as that has become more accessible through Ring doorbell cameras and easily mountable battery-operated cameras that you can put on your home, and it's more affordable than ever to afford home security systems, you can almost you can bet your bottom dollar that neighbors in the area, they have checked their security footage, or they have been asked by police to check their security footage to see if there was any sign of JJ. It's become pretty standard for this to be done. Autumn wants to know, how long will you be covering this live? We're going to say live for as long as humanly possible. Eagle's fuel situation I'm unaware of. Eagle did land to refuel in Hernando County, while, again, around 4 o'clock today, there was an advisory put out specifically to WFLA asking Eagle to be grounded. And the reason that we were later told was because it was an audio issue. Now, we don't know exactly why they wanted Eagle to be grounded for the loudness of the helicopter, but it could be because it might have been startling the young boy. It might have been startling JJ. It also might have made it more difficult for deputies and officers on the ground to hear any faint cries for help, because the chopper, when you have multiple choppers flying overhead, that can create quite a loud, just a loud amount, just a lot of sound. So here's that meeting that is currently taking place. Let's go full screen and show that to you. And actually, we're actually going to move from this. We're going now to Sheriff Al Nienhuis, who has just arrived in a utility vehicle to speak with Brittany. We'll be carrying this interview here live. They are preparing for it to be on air on WFLA News Channel 8. And so Brittany's doing mic checks right now, and as soon as this interview begins, we'll be listening in. This is, again, Sheriff Al Nienhuis speaking to WFLA's Brittany Muller in the aftermath of the interview that we brought you about an hour or so ago with the very latest information. And we hope to have some kind of an update, as small as it might be, as minor as it may be. Hopefully we get an update here from Sheriff Al Nienhuis, anything that resembles any sign of hope as far as finding JJ. We're live on Facebook Live. We're live on YouTube Live. We're live on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. And we'll be, of course, with you in the aftermath of this press conference, or this interview for the very latest. So Brittany just finishing mic checks, and we'll be listening in. She is waiting for her cue in her earpiece from our TV control room, at which time she will be asking some questions to Sheriff Al Nienhuis. And hopefully we can get some questions answered and more clarity on the latest in the search for JJ. In the meantime, we'll go split screen as they're preparing for their cue to go live on broadcast television. Live here on the left side of your screen, Eagle 8 HD continuously circling the area and getting harder and harder to make out things because of the look, now we can adjust our cameras for the lack of daylight here, so it might not look like it's getting that dark, but that's because we can open up our camera a bit and show you a little bit more, let more light into the camera. But darkness is going to become an issue here in the coming half hour. Brittany listening for the cue in her ear on WFLA News Channel 8. We are currently in a live report on what has transpired in Orlando. with the shooting deaths of 3, including a News 13 reporter. And here is now Brittany standing by from the control room. Let's listen in for Brittany's live report here on WFLA.
Keith, a massive search is underway for 2-year-old JJ. Joining me right now is Hernando Sheriff Al Nienhuis. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
During the press conference a few minutes ago, you were talking about how the K-9 unit caught a scent of JJ. Does that give you any hope in finding the missing boy?
Well, you know, canines are animals, and you have to read them, so we're not 100% sure that we got a scent, but we did get an indication he might have went in a particular area, and that's the direction that we've been focusing a portion of our resources. Obviously, we've been doing things, as I said, checking sexual predators just in an abundance of caution. We have our volunteer mounted unit out here. We have the air unit, as you can see, drone units, and probably about 50 to 60 law enforcement personnel just from the sheriff's office, and that doesn't include the dive team from Citrus and the K-9 from Pasco and K-9 bloodhounds from Department of Corrections.
Sure. We do know that local law enforcement, your agency, was called to help find JJ right at noon.
Correct.
And right at 5:46, I received an FDLE alert of JJ. He's missing. It was sent to my phone. What was the delay? Why did it take almost 6 hours for that alert to be sent out?
Well, typically Amber Alerts, which most people are familiar with, require an abduction or some evidence that an abduction took place. So this isn't technically an Amber Alert, but what we do have the ability of, once we've exhausted all the local search area, then we want to expand it. Now, it's important to know that we do what we call a code red locally within a geographical area around the scene to let people know on their home phones and their cell phones, if they're in the area, to look for them. It's actually a recorded message. So this is just expanding that even further, even though we have no reason to believe that JJ is more than several hundred yards or a quarter of a mile from the house. Just in case he was able to get further away, we want to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to make sure everybody's looking for him. As you knew, we put out his picture and his name almost immediately to the media, so we were getting it out and on our social media page as well. So
thank you so much, Sheriff. We appreciate your time and taking time from the search to talk with us. So we posted his picture on WFLA.com of JJ. You could go check that out and please share it. This search will continue through the night and even tomorrow until they find JJ. For now, reporting live in Brooksville, Brittany Muller, 8 on your side.
Sheriff Al Nienhuis speaking to our own Brittany, and now a follow-up question from our anchors. Let's listen in.
Thank you.
And again, that was Sheriff Al Nienhuis there. That was part of our live broadcast coverage on WFLA News Channel 8, your NBC station. Brittany doing an excellent job as far as keeping us informed as to what was going on the ground, and Sheriff Al Nienhuis providing us with some answers there on, okay, so the dogs might have picked up on a scent that might have produced a direction from the house. So you have the starting point, and then you have the direction where the child might have gone, where JJ might have gone from there. And then there was the response for, and this is something perhaps for a later date. Right now, the number one priority is finding JJ alive, but also too, something that might come up at a later date is why an alert wasn't sent out until 5:40 or 5:45 or so. 7 or 8 hours. I've lost track of the amount of hours, but hours. Well, it wasn't that long. It was more like, it would have been 5 or 6 hours or so since law enforcement found out that JJ was missing. That's a story for another day. Story for another day. Right now, the top priority is finding JJ and finding him alive. Horseback, drones, dive units, helicopters, canines, every possible resource that is on the table, and it is going on right now in Hernando County as authorities are desperately searching over the next 20 minutes with the 20 minutes or so of daylight that we have left, and maybe a little bit of light after sundown with it being dusk, just doing everything they can to find JJ as quickly as possible. But this is a search now that has spanned the entirety of this afternoon and now into these early evening hours this Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. Appalachian, is saying #KJB, a rock mine, a cave area, call forestry. They have knowledge of the area. I would imagine that anyone that has any advanced knowledge of the terrain and of the exact location is being called in as a resource. Everything's on the table. They even took a phone call from a psychic saying, check out this location. Everything and anything is on the table as far as them trying to find JJ alive. Yeah. So 10 a.m. this morning was the time that we originally got. The relative dropped JJ off around 9:45. 10 a.m. was when there was this. That was when we originally reported the window as being 10 a.m. as far as when JJ was last seen. But then we learned that a reliable witness saw JJ outside on the property playing with the house dogs at 10:40 a.m. So 10:40 is when we know that he was last seen on the property. And by 11, that was when the parents or the caretaker, those on the property were starting to search for JJ. So, and then law enforcement were notified at noon, an hour later. So that's the timeline as we understand it right now. Yeah, Vicky, this is a really interesting question, and I actually haven't thought of this, and this is also, too, why I enjoy interacting with our audience live while we do this on WFLA Now. But where are the dogs now that he was playing with, and what is wildlife like? If the dogs were missing, I think we would have known about it by now. I can't say for certain. That's just me providing context here. But if the dogs, this is interesting. Okay. If JJ is out on the property, we don't know as far as how young or old or experienced or new or what breed of dog it was. JJ was on the property at 10:40 a.m., seen playing with dogs, this is according to a reliable witness who was in the area. He had a timestamp receipt that gave him a reference point that pointed to him seeing JJ on the property at 10:40-ish a.m. This morning and playing with the dogs on the property. But this is a really good question from Vicky. Where are those dogs now? Now, if the dogs were missing too, you would imagine that by now we would have that information from law enforcement. But if the dogs are still on the property or in the house and are accounted for, did JJ leave and the dogs didn't follow? I mean, that's how it adds up in your mind. But this is, again, an excellent point from one of our commenters here as well. Hold on. GSZ wants to know, can you add the state this is in? Yeah, I know it says Hernando County on the bottom. This is Florida. This is north of Tampa, technically part of the Tampa Bay region on the Gulf Coast side of Florida. And again, as a reminder, we are WFLA, FLA being the abbreviation for the state of Florida. Yeah, Butterfly is asking, is JJ autistic? There are no special needs, according to Sheriff Al Nienhuis. He said the only special need is the fact that it's a toddler. It's a child, it's a young child. But there's no special needs of note that have been provided to law enforcement. Jeff C. asking, #KJB, did they look in the abandoned vehicles? They are undoubtedly looking everywhere. Everywhere. And And so they have made it clear they are looking anywhere a 2-year-old could fit, anywhere a 2-year-old might be able to hide. One really dark scenario that we haven't talked about yet on this stream. I try to remain as optimistic. Anyone who follows the work that we do here in WFLA now, I am always trying to be glass half full rather than glass half empty. I'm always trying to bring positive energy to our live streams as best as possible. But one dark scenario that we haven't talked about is the fact that with this being a more rural area, is there the chance that there's any wildlife in this area that could have played a factor in this? Alligators, snakes, any other Florida wildlife that could potentially be a danger to a missing toddler. We did see FWC. That's Florida Wildlife. They are on the scene as well. And I haven't heard any reports of anyone spotting any wildlife. But when we're talking about an area that has a lot of waterways, a lot of ponds and creeks, alligators are absolutely, definitely something that authorities have to factor into the equation. Other wildlife as well. And we're just hoping that that is not part of the equation. I think we can say, to say the least. Iridescent wallflower, #KJB. I live in Hernando County and want to help. What can I do? If you're in the area of Brooksville or North Brooksville, you can of course check your property. Other than that, just sharing the word of JJ's disappearance, that's really the best thing that you can do right now, Iridescent. Now look, as sunlight retreats and as we get closer to nighttime, there might be, we don't know this yet, but there might be a call for additional help. And if there is a call for volunteers, we'll let you know about it here on stream. We'll let you know about it here on WFLA.com. But right now, they are indicating that they do not need the help of volunteers. They have plenty of resources. And it was interesting, Sheriff Al Neenhuis, and I should have thought of this. The reason why they are not, they don't need volunteers right now, and they don't want there to be, just all. I mean, can you imagine if they put out a call for help, or if they said that help is permissible, if anyone can just join the search effort? I think that this is an area of the country where you're going to find that there's going to be an extraordinary amount of help. People pulling up their cars, their pickup trucks, everyone just flooding the scene, so to speak, to get out of the cars and help look. And while you think that might be advantageous for law enforcement, as Sheriff Neenhuis put it, that creates a complicated situation for the canines, makes it more difficult for the canines to track the scent when there's more foreign scents coming into the area. So that is why right now they are not asking for volunteers. They're trying to keep this to a law enforcement operation for the time being. Yeah, a lot of comments coming in about wildlife. A lot of comments coming in about wildlife. I see those comments, everybody. And I know that everyone's asking, could this have happened? Could that have happened? I see a comment here from Alabama talking about how snakes are so prevalent in Alabama, and the wildlife can be parallel from especially central and southern Alabama to here in Florida. So look, yes, wildlife is definitely, it has to be considered. However, some of the comments asking, could this have happened? Could that have happened? And some of it being particularly grim. I'll let our commenters and our moderators kind of answer those questions here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. Design silence, #KJB. Will you be streaming until he's found, until the search ends? I am likely going to be streaming as long as we have a feed. And even then, after I lose a feed or lose all feeds, again, I'm here in the WFLA Now Stream Center, accessing any and all feeds that we can on the ground and in the air with Eagle 8 HD. When we lose feeds, I'm even going to try to stay live with you a little bit longer. But when I don't have feeds, it's like flying blind here in the Stream Center. And it's difficult to give you an account of what's going on in a particular area of Tampa Bay or a particular area of the country when I can't see what's actually happening. So I can't document what's happening. I can't report on what's happening, and sitting around waiting for an email update or waiting for a tweet coming in from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office is something that you can do at home. So I can provide some comfort, hopefully, in staying with you live when we lose our feeds. But right now, we're going to stay with Eagle 8 HD until we have to land Eagle for fuel reasons. I have not been given an update as to when. Folks, I'm going to be back in 60 seconds here on WFLA Now. 60 seconds. I have to talk with our team here regarding the very latest. Stand by. Let's go back, split screen, and show you again a photo. JJ here on the right. I haven't really talked about this photo. Curly blonde hair, snacking on a pretzel and French fries and a red slushie. Every kid's dream, right? Wearing a T-Rex, a dinosaur shirt there. He's wearing a gray shirt. He was last seen wearing a gray Batman shirt. And gray shorts. Sounds like a kid I'd love to hang out with. Dinosaurs and Batman. Half-eaten pretzel, French fries, red slushie. We're just hoping and praying that little JJ is found safe and sound, but he has been missing since approximately 10:45 this morning. You can see from Eagle here on the left side of your screen, that is not law enforcement. That is perhaps neighbors or members of the public. Not exactly sure if they live nearby or if they live on that property, but just some of what we're seeing from Eagle 8 HD. I'll continue to monitor for questions and comments. Let's hop over to Facebook Live. Say hello to our Facebook Live audience. I'll be paying attention for your hashtag HeyJB questions and comments over there for the next couple of minutes. And then I'll bounce back over to YouTube Live. And I can do both at the same time, but I usually try to focus on one versus the other because it can be very difficult to bounce back and forth and simultaneously look at comments from two sections at the same time. You know, Marilee Loera, hashtag HeyJB, do those towers that we see have any cameras? You know, those appear to be, Eagle just passed by a couple of what appear to be cell towers. I might be able to ask Eagle if there's any surveillance on those towers, but and sometimes there are. But any camera in this area is going to be valuable. And so what we'll do is we'll try to provide some clarity there. I'm not sure if it's really normal for cell towers to have cameras on them, and if they were, you know, how high up on the cell tower those cameras would be located. You would imagine that there would be some form of security at the base of that tower to ensure that if anybody was committing a crime or if anybody was, you would imagine there would be some surveillance at the cell phone tower, but how useful it is and how high up it would be. But it is a very good question. Let's go back full screen to Eagle. and show you what we're looking at here beyond these trees. My friend and colleague Jim Hockett, photojournalist Jim Hockett, is in Eagle right now. And so if Jim is paying attention to something, I know him well enough to know that he's trying to show us something. So it looks like this is another meeting of deputies, meeting of law enforcement. And again, there is going to be a transition because Chief Meteorologist Jeff Beardelli informed us that sundown in Brooksville tonight is 6:26 p.m. The time now, 6:24 p.m. So we're talking about the final moments of the sun being in the air. Now you're going to get dusk. You're going to still have some light, some residual light from the horizon that provides us with some ability to see, but it's going to become exponentially more difficult to see anything at all after 6:26 p.m. Charla, #KJB, have the parents spoken or their names been given out? Okay, so the parents haven't spoken. Their names haven't been given out. They have not been publicly identified. And Charla's asking if there's any history of any kind. Not that has been indicated to us. All that we have been informed is that this is a family and there was and the person caring for JJ fell asleep. And during that time period, JJ disappeared. But then a reliable witness came forward and said at 10:40 saw JJ outside playing with the dogs. So that is a precious piece of information and helps us as far as knowing when JJ disappeared. Because by 11 a.m., that parent said that they were awake and JJ was gone. Amy MacGyver, #KJB, that Eagle is showing a bunch of homes here. Which one is the home? I can't say for certain, but I can. That home right there has a lot of law enforcement on it, but also at the same time, I think that there's a couple of homes. So these streets here, I'm going to try to provide everybody with some. So the main road that Brittany was standing on is Yonce Road. Cheever Road is the road that is now going left to right. Everybody see that road going left to right now? That right there is Cheever Road, the one that Eagle is now focused on. Okay, I've been informed just moments ago, Eagle needs to refuel. I am going to step away from the microphone to find out what the strategy is, and because by the time that Eagle gets back up in the air, we're talking about there being almost no light left. Eagle will have to leave, get to an airport to refuel. It could take 15 to 20 minutes to refuel and then get back to the area. So by the time Eagle gets back, we're talking about there being almost no light left, if any light at all. So I'm going to step away from the microphone here in the Stream Center, folks. I'm going to go talk with our team about what this looks like going forward now. Our number one priority is, of course, keeping you posted on what is happening with JJ. And we'll do our very best to continue our streaming coverage here on WFLA Now. But I'm going to be taking a brief step away to talk with our team about our coverage plan going forward. Again, the very latest on WFLA.com. I will be back in the next 2 to 3 minutes with the very latest. JB here with you live again, folks, on WFLA Now across all platforms. Thank you for being patient with us. I was talking with our team about the plan. Eagle 8 HD, we're losing connection with Eagle as they head back to the Tampa area. I'll show it to you here. Yeah, this is what you've been looking at the last couple of minutes. Signal breaking up there. Eagle will not be returning to the area. We do not have, of course, our Eagle 8 HD camera does not have infrared technology. So we will not be able to see anything. Eagle can see a lot from the sky at night when there's lights on the ground, when there's a lot of lights in an urban area like downtown Tampa. You can see a whole lot. We've used Eagle for things such as when the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl and there was parades in the streets, there was a ton of light to use, street lights and lights from buildings and vehicles. That's different. But when we're talking about something as rural as Hernando County, there's just not a lot of light. So Eagle is not going to be heading back after this refueling trip. Also, too, we have cameras on the ground, of course, but they have to conserve battery as a result of, because if there is news, good or bad, regarding JJ's disappearance, they need to conserve battery for that moment. And so after doing continuous live streaming coverage all day, we're at a situation with our equipment there in Hernando County where we need to conserve battery in the event that we get an update. The last thing that we want is to continuously give you live video that drains our batteries, and then when we actually have news to report, the battery dies. Hopefully that makes sense for folks. So that's our situation. We are no longer in possession of live feeds here in the WFLA Now Stream Center, which means that we are, in essence, flying blind. But I'm going to stay on stream with you guys for a little bit longer and try to provide some context. And look, we can only hope. An update can drop at any moment. Any moment, the Hernando County Sheriff's Office could say that they have found something. Brittany can hear. Brittany is on the ground. She might hear something, hear some commotion, might hear some activity, and she could text me. There could be a tweet put out. There's still the opportunity for us to get an update while we're here on stream, but we can't stay on stream forever considering that we don't have any feeds to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay with you here live a little bit longer, hope and pray that there's an update that we can provide with you in this extended coverage, and then we'll be signing off if we do not have anything else to share, and point you in the direction of WFLA.com for updates as they come in, the push alerts on the WFLA app. All of that is a way as far as staying in the know for JJ's disappearance and hopefully him being found safe and sound there in Hernando County. So we'll come back here live, show you the picture of JJ, and I'll pay attention. Let's go back to YouTube Live. Say hello again to our YouTube Live audience, and say hello to everybody. Hope everyone is having a good night. I was paying attention to the Alex Murdaugh trial on YouTube there for a while. I was streaming it on some platforms. We, of course, were paying attention to the god-awful, just the tragic series of shootings in Orlando as well. It's been a very busy 24 hours in news here in Florida. And then with Alex Murdaugh taking the stand in South Carolina, the internet has just been headline after headline. So I've been paying attention to as much as I can, but as soon as we got word of the missing 2-year-old, again, JJ out of North Brooksville, we pivoted immediately to that. That became our top priority, and we've been streaming news ever since here on WFLA Now. So I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, provided that I'm here in the Stream Center, and hopefully I can stay with you guys long enough to provide an update if it comes in. Yeah, so Mama Guide, one of our moderators, asking the question, does the news helicopter have night vision or heat or anything that could help at night? No. Now, we can really, our camera is advanced enough to be able to open it up enough to let in a lot of light. And while if we did have Eagle in the sky, you'd probably be able to see more than you'd think because we can open up the camera to let in a lot of light. But the contrast of dark to light would provide such a difficult image for us to make out anything that it almost makes no sense at all for us to stream with Eagle. It would be almost impossible to make out anything of consequence, anything of detail. I don't own a helicopter. Our station does. But yes, Tampa Bay has several news stations, but we're the only station on the Tampa Bay side of Florida that has its own news helicopter that provides us with a lot of flexibility. When we need to cover news, we don't have to worry about going through a third party. We send our helicopter, our pilot, our photographer, our team up in the air, and we tell them directly where to go and don't have to worry about anything outside of our control playing a factor. It's a big piece of what Eagle 8HD is, an enormous piece of what we do. It's a huge part of our operation. Gene asking #KJB, why aren't you listening to the police scanner? We are. We listen to the police scanner. That's what and everyone here, as far as WFLA, we have our roles. And so my role is to be with you here on stream. If I was listening to scanner traffic all the time, I couldn't talk to you and provide you with updates. So our assignment desk team, I think it's Jeff and David today, they are listening to scanners. And if there's anything of note, they alert me immediately. And so that we can be in the know. Jeff C. with a great question. We have not heard any word. Please, are there any other siblings? We haven't heard of any siblings. Now, that's not to say that JJ is an only child, but we have not heard if there are any siblings. Lady Sinclair saying #KJB, please let the family know that we are praying for them and JJ. We don't have any communication with the family. But prayers on social media have a way of believe me, of making it through to these families when they're experiencing times of crisis. I know because I have spoken to, I've been on stream a while. I have spoken to a lot of families that deal with tragedy and deal with times of extreme crisis. And while social media is not a top priority, it's not far from mine. And so when they see the activity on social media, believe me, they know oftentimes, more often than not, that there are prayers and a lot of support from the community and beyond. Yeah, Mary Jane, we were talking about this earlier. Is the dog that he was playing with still there? See, the TV interview with Sheriff Al Nienhuis was limited because on TV and digital, TV and live streaming are very different. Okay, so TV, on our TV newscasts with interviews, it's got to fit into a portion of time. We only had, I think, a 2 to 3 minute window because it was broadcast television to talk to Sheriff Nienhuis in the 6 o'clock hour. On digital, as you guys know, we stream here nonstop, commercial free. So if we had Sheriff Al Nienhuis on our live stream, we could have asked a lot more questions. But because we were limited to that being a broadcast interview, we didn't have too many questions to ask. So as far as the dogs that JJ was playing with, we don't know their status. David Fickey, #KJB, do we know more of an exact where this is? All I've heard is near Brooksville. This is North Brooksville, west of 98, west of Ponce de Leon Boulevard, on Cheever Road, which is off of the cross street is Yonce Road. Not too far away from the center of Brooksville. You know, there at 98 and Jefferson, you know, there's a Texaco gas station there. There's a let's see, just trying to give everyone some reference points. There's an animal hospital there, All County Animal Hospital. It's north of that though. It's north a bit, and then west on Cheever. Or west on Yonce, excuse me. West on Cheever, north. West on Yonce, north on Cheever. Hopefully that makes sense. You can look it up in Google yourself. Go to Google and punch in Cheever Road and Yonce Road. Florida, and it'll come right up. You want to see exactly where it is for yourself. Maureen, #KJB, any water search of the pond? Yeah, the dive team has been looking in the immediate areas as far as the ponds and creeks nearest to the home to see if there's any sign of JJ. And the good news is that they haven't yielded anything yet. If they yield anything, it's usually a very ominous sign, without getting too grim, what they could find in the water. Eric, no. The answer to your question is no. At no point has this been thought to be an abduction. That's not to mean that doesn't mean that that's not something that the sheriff's office is looking into. Anything is possible at this moment, but they are not true. This is not believed to be an abduction at this point. Maria Estrada, #KJB. Wouldn't JJ's scent be everywhere? How can the dogs know if the scent is fresh and new? This is a great question. This is why having somebody who's familiar with canines could tell us, how long would JJ's scent remain? Is it all over the property? Does he run with the dogs frequently out there? Nienhuis said that there was a direction. The canines were able to provide a direction to where JJ might have gone, and they have used that information as much as they can to provide us with an update as far as where JJ might be. But Jeff, I got a question from Barb in our comment section asking about the temperature tonight in Hernando County. What you got? Our chief meteorologist. One more time. It's warm, dropping to the mid 60s. 10. How many degrees above normal? 10 degrees above normal for this time of year. So we're supposed to be in the 50s, and tonight we're going to drop into the 60s, mid 60s. Yeah, that's warm. Let's see here. Jessica says that there's a canine training center not far from JJ's home. I did not know that, if that is true. That is according to Jessica in our YouTube comment section. I did not know that. And if that is true, that is fascinating. And hopefully, look, if there's, you want fully trained canines and canines with experience, of course, to be utilized so that they're not pointing officers and deputies in the wrong direction. However, if that proximity provides us with more paws on the ground, so to speak, then that's advantageous, to say the least. Thank you, Eric. I see your comment. I don't need to animate it on screen, but thank you. It's very kind. Appreciate it. Yeah, Gene, we were hoping to get an update on this. The delivery, according to Nienhuis in the 5 o'clock interview, there was a delivery truck driver that was delivering a package in the area at the time that had video that might have had video. That there was a video component, and whether or not that video showed JJ is unknown, but that is something that they were looking into. And no update on that. I'd really love to know if there was an update on that. There's some folks, yeah. Okay, so a lot of folks that are, Makeup by Rocky is asking me, one of our moderators asking, a lot of folks are asking for an update. So let's review this, and let's go through this chronologically through time. a the caretaker for JJ fell asleep this morning, and during that time, while JJ's caretaker was asleep, JJ disappeared. This was this morning, really, in the 9:45 to 10:45 time frame. But what we would later, and this is happening just to give you the who, what, when, where, and why, right? To kind of go over the basics here. This happening in North Brooksville this morning. This is north of the Tampa area in Hernando County. Definitely more rural than some of our other counties in the Tampa Bay area, but still populated. Still a lot of people that live in Hernando County, whether it be Spring Hill or Brooksville and some of the other towns in Hernando County, but definitely more rural than some of the other areas, across Central Florida. And JJ, we found out, disappeared this morning. But we found out later that a reliable witness saw JJ around 10:40, and this is considered to be highly reliable information because this person was getting gas at the time and had a receipt, and that provided them with a timestamp to show that it was around 10:40 this morning that this person, this reliable witness, say that they saw JJ playing on the property at the house with the dogs around 10:40 a.m. But by 11 a.m., the caretaker had woken up and started to look for JJ, and JJ was gone. So there's this window of, we'll say, around 20 minutes or so where we know that JJ disappeared. He was playing with the dogs one moment, gone the next. JJ has been the target and the focus of a search now for a long time, but the first search was just by the family. The family looking frantically for JJ on the property, around the property, in the house, anywhere that they could look and find JJ. That went on for about an hour. At noon Eastern today, that was when the family got concerned enough to contact law enforcement. Law enforcement responded a little after noon and began the search of the area, looking everywhere they could for JJ. And as it became more and more clear that he wasn't in the house or on the property and the surrounding area, they knew that they had to expand their search and call in an immense amount of resources, from dogs to officers on horseback to drones to helicopters. Everything was called in as far as resources. There's no indication that he was abducted. He is believed to have wandered off after playing with the dogs. He's considered to be a rambunctious 2-year-old or 2.5-year-old. Sheriff Al Ninhais did say that if anyone is acting differently or weird, to contact them, but he is not believed to have been abducted or anything like that. The canines picked up some indication of a scent that provided deputies with a direction to go in, but how reliable that is even Ninhais mentioned, look, they're animals. We just don't know how reliable the scent is as far as providing that initial direction from the house. A delivery truck driver, the search has been going on all day, and we're now here past sundown, and we're getting into even more scary territory because of the lack of light. We no longer have feeds to show you the area. But a delivery truck driver might have delivered a package in the area at the time and had access to video, and we don't know if that video shows JJ or not or gives us anything, but it was a shred of hope that we had at a time, for a period of time in the 5 o'clock hour. A dive team was then called in. The dive team has looked in some of the waterways around the home, and they have turned up nothing. And they have been fielding any and all tips that could provide them with information, even taking a tip from a psychic to go check out a particular location. Everything is on the table to find JJ. They're not going to leave any stone unturned. So from a resource perspective, from a tip perspective, and so that's where things stand right now. JJ is believed to have wandered from the property. We don't know how far he wandered. We have noted here on stream that wildlife has to be considered, but you just hope that that's not part of it. I want to show you this. Eagle is is getting closer to, and this is not a signal difficulty. I think that I was told that this particular camera is ready to be updated. But I just wanted to show you this for a second. This is how much daylight we're talking about now in the Tampa Bay area. So we're talking about a really challenging situation. You got it, Rocky. Robin is saying, #KJB, do you think we may see the parents do an interview soon? I don't know how much good that would do. And alerts have been put out. Every law enforcement resource has been utilized. And is it possible? Sure. Of course it's possible. But ask yourself, if it was you right now, if you were dealing with your nightmare come to life and your 2.5-year-old child was missing and had been missing now for a period of approximately 7-8 hours or so, would you want to be doing news interviews? Ask yourself that question, really. I'm not. Look, everyone's going to have a different response. Some people might be like, might think, my goodness, if there's something that I can do to help get the word out, but the word has already been spread. And then some people might think, my goodness, I could never appear on camera given the circumstances. It just depends on the individual person. Somebody was asking in our comment section about a potential press conference. At this point, I would imagine that a press conference is going to be called if there's an update. Like they're not just going to continuously do press conferences just to keep people posted. I think we're getting to the territory now, based on my previous experience, that if there's a press conference called, it's going to be for an update, like an update, a tangible, meaningful update, whether it be good or bad. I don't know the answer to that question, Allie. I don't know the answer to that question. Why were the parents were asleep? I don't know. I do not know. Joanna says, please explain the delivery driver. Yes, look, the delivery driver, they found out, they've been scouring for information for hours, and they found out that around the time JJ disappeared, there was a delivery being made. I don't know, we don't know if it's Amazon Prime, FedEx, UPS, or what kind of delivery service it might have been. But they found out that somebody was making a delivery at the time, and they might have access to video, but whether or not that video shows us anything is unclear, and we haven't gotten any updates. This is a last call for your questions and comments. Good point. Sometimes this comes down to, Little Patty says that poor baby is probably really hungry. Prayers that they find him fast. Need to get him a pretzel, some French fries, and a red slushie. We can only hope. People asking, JJ's last name has not been made public. I believe his first name is Josh. And his last name might have been made public. Let's actually check to see if that's reflected in our reporting. Yeah, I'm sorry. Apologies. No, we did have that. Joshua JJ Rowland, or Roland. I think it's Rowland pronounced. Rowland. So apologies, I was a little behind on that update. That is the last name. A couple more questions before we wrap up this live stream. D-Dog, thank you. See, it's interesting. With an adult, with a missing adult, adults can be anywhere. Adult can hop in a car and be in a period of 7 or 8 hours, can be in a different state, in a different, region of the country, over the course of a day. So, but with a child, it can only go so far. 2.5-year-old, how long is a 2.5-year-old going to be able to walk before they get fatigued or realize that they have wandered too far from home and don't want to continue walking in that direction? Now, look, a 2.5-year-old might have gone out on an adventure and got far enough away from the house to realize that they had no idea where they were and just started to wander aimlessly looking for any. But yeah, with an adult, missing persons cases are so much different when you're talking about a toddler versus an adult. An adult has the means to travel independently. A child, you would imagine, they can't make it very far unless it's with the assistance of an adult. And of course, I'm referring to the chance of an abduction, a kidnapping. But Sheriff Al Ninhai says that they do not believe that JJ was abducted, that they have nothing at this time to believe that he was abducted. That's not to say that he wasn't, but the chances of that are not considered likely, given the current situation. So, any other comments that we can get through here? Yeah, this is a good one we can kind of end out on. Denise saying, when is the next update? I'd love to know myself. And we can only hope it's a good update, and we can only hope it's soon. We have not been given word as to when the next update is. I will be, I have to hop off live stream here. We don't have any feeds to show you. But what I will do is I will pay very close attention to this. But if you're really seeking updates, you can follow WFLA's social media accounts. You can follow me at WFLAJB on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, although that's usually for more. That's not. I post breaking news on those platforms, but it really, as far as breaking news, I'm sharing it on Facebook and Twitter. TikTok and Instagram are more for like in-depth video content. So that's where things stand. We do not know when the next update is going to be, but I'm sending out my prayers that JJ is found alive. He's found safe. He is found sound, and he's reunited with his family, and that they can put this horrible nightmare to bed for good. No family deserves this. No family deserves to lose their child like that. It's just absolutely terrible. And so we can only hope that JJ, next time that I'm talking about JJ on camera, it's with good news. I can only hope. So streaming coverage could continue here, but we're going to be hopping off live stream here for now. And again, we're going to share the very latest on our website and on our app on WFLA.com. I'd really like to thank everybody who's been joining us, everyone who shared the live stream. Just thank you. I was just typing something. Thank you, everyone who uses the power of social media to try to make a difference. We really appreciate it. And our WFLA team, we've transitioned to our Nightside crew. So they are going to be working on updates to provide them on the ground as we get them. Again, Eagle will not be flying overhead just because of, we don't have daylight anymore. But if we get any additional information, you will first hear about it on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and I will post it immediately to my social media platforms. Again, there's a chance that I'm back on live stream if we have a significant update in the hours ahead. But really, I encourage you to pay attention to those platforms if you are seeking updates regarding JJ's status and what's going on right now in Hernando County. So again, the very latest on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. Thanks so much for joining us. To our YouTube moderators, thank you so much for helping us in our comment section. To Facebook Live, thank you for joining us and participating with your comments and questions. And we'll be keeping you posted on air and online on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on WFLA Now, praying that JJ is found safe and sound.